我们那千年之缘有远有渺小。我咬紧回忆，为最初那口气骄傲。说分明时光就纵身一条，与风而上很好。可能我知道你蹲在另一秒。路被光环绕，怎么能忘了希望亲吻过心跳？问以后有没有我的续命草？我敢把想念抛上九霄，因为我真想要过上帝要，但是我没讨饶。等我看见明日再次的坐标，另一个我们要的地灵鸟，那破碎以后复原的连接往日未来的桥，是你给我明日从此的坐标，孤身到同行后再向前跑，雕刻在时间纤维中的荣耀。风和泪过招，我听到乌云说要苍穹的拥抱，月光下星空下铺有一只暗光鸟。我遇见回音，对我一笑，说迎战吧别逃，拿着耐风号，那些破烂的羽毛。等我看见明日再次的坐标，另一个我们要的地灵鸟，那破碎以后复原的连接往日未来的桥，是你给我明日从此的坐标，孤身到同行后再向前跑，谁到此以后可别忘了，在击掌以后不要分道扬镳，别糟蹋了脸上刺绣的年少。心静悄悄，天高高，路上有个路标，似乎指向山顶的庙，老人家轻飘飘，我问他明天的可好，他笑笑，看见明日再次的坐标，一个我们要的地灵鸟，那破碎以后复原的连接往日未来的桥，是你给我明日从此的坐标，孤身到同行后才向前跑，谁到此以后可别忘了，在击掌以后不要分道扬镳，最开始的启程到最后找到。
Don't Juan. Won't you come out to greet an old friend? All this noise. How unruly. My oh my, such a grand ceremony, and yet it's become such a mess.
Let me help you tidy things up! How interesting! Very interesting!
You. Why do you always cling on to him? Hmm?
Austrian. It's been a long time.
Caillou! Do not
I like that.
Hey! You!
Hey!
Stop!
You!
Point!
Cheers!
The cursed name, Kaiser.
Hello. I'm a spriteling. This world is so strange. Happy people are colorful. So beautiful. Are those their negative emotions? Ah, so scary! Huh? Oh, let me chase away the unhappiness! Sprite laying strike! Ha! Hey! Huh? I'm a spriteling. With me around, you'll never be unhappy. Ow! That hurts.
Thank you.
Let's be friends. Get him! Get him! Pitch blind, let's play another match. Charge! Welcome to the world of Spritelings. I'll take you to our annual Spriteling Festival. Enjoy HOK and release your unhappiness. The world can't be without Spritelings.
Double
对焦，我们那千年之缘有远有渺小。我咬紧回忆，为最初那口气骄傲。说分明是光，就总剩一条，遇风而上很好。可能我知道，你等在另一秒。路被光环绕，怎么能忘了希望亲吻过心跳？问以后有没有我的续命草？我敢把想念抛山就小，因为我真想要过上帝要，但是我没讨饶。等我看见明日再次的坐标，另一个我们要的地灵鸟，那破碎以后复原的连接往日未来的桥，是你给我明日从此的坐标，孤身到同行后再向前跑，雕刻在时间纤维中的荣耀。风和雷过照，我听到乌云说要苍穹的拥抱，月光下星空下固有一只暗光鸟。我遇见回音，对我一笑，说迎战吧别逃，那真爱风号，那些破烂的羽毛。等我看见明日再一次的坐标，另一个我们要的地灵鸟，那破碎以后复原的连接往日未来的桥，是你给我明日从此的坐标，孤身到同行后再向前跑，谁到此以后可别忘了，在击掌以后不要分道扬镳，别糟蹋了脸上刺绣的年少。心静悄悄，天高高，路上有个路标，似乎指向山顶的庙，老人家轻飘飘，我问他明天的可好，他笑笑，看见明日再次的坐标，一个我们要的地灵鸟，那破碎以后复原的连接往日未来的桥，是你给我明日从此的坐标，孤身到同行后再向前跑，谁到此以后可别忘了，在击掌以后不要分道扬镳，最开始的启程到最后找到。
Don't Wong, won't you come out to greet an old friend? All this noise, how unruly. My oh my, such a grand ceremony, and yet it's become such a mess.
Let me help you tidy things up.
It's almost time.
Hang in there! We'll protect everyone! Someone will come to help us!
Who will come to help us? No.
How interesting!
Very interesting.
You. Why do you always cling on to him? Hmm?
Austrian. It's been a long time.
Caught you! Do not run!
Hello, once again, welcome back into the 2025 KPL Grand Finals knockout stage. We are getting serious today. It's your favorite kind of tofu, Kindofu, and with me today, a debut. It is Blam's turn. How are you doing, Blam?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, man. I mean, finally get to be on the English KPL broadcast as well. It's going to be phenomenal because, I mean, some of these teams, from what we've seen so far within the Grand Finals, has been absolutely stellar. So I'm really excited to be the PvP here and give you the best action as it all goes down today.
Okay, so let's set the stage for today. Once again, we're heading into another best of 7. This is the lower brackets. We're going to have Wolves Esports go up against JD Gaming, also known as JDG. And we're going to open up for the newer players of HOK here. We're going to practice something called the Global Band Pick format. So Blam, what is the Global Band Pick format?
So global ban pick basically means that if your team selects one hero in one of the rounds, so obviously this is a best of 7, so if you pick a hero in game number 1, you cannot pick that hero for the rest of the series unless we get into the ultimate battle phase within that best of 7, right? So then it becomes a blind draft and anything goes within that round.
Okay, so here's how we activate that ultimate battle. Both teams will have to reach a 3-3 scoreline, meaning it is 6 games already. Only then will we activate the ultimate battle. How the ultimate battle works is essentially a blind pick. You're allowed to pick any hero within the entire composition and within the entire roster as well. Everything is unlocked, but you will not know what your opponent will be picking.
Exactly that. I mean, we've been seeing kind of like a bit of a flavor of what's been going on within the Ultimate Battles, right? Obviously, a lot of Flowborn Tank, a lot of Cat Boom as well. So we kind of already get a bit of an idea. There's been quite a bit of a zestiness up into the Clash lane. That's where I've been seeing the most bit of disparity. We're like, do we get Barty? Do we get Charlotte? That's where those coaches are really got to be then finding out if they're playing on their best hero. Is their main hero Charlotte? Is their main hero Barty? I feel like that's what it comes down to within that Ultimate Battle.
Yes, and let's talk a little bit about Wolves Esports here. So I want to talk about the captain, Pang. He is known for his signature hero, that is the Pei, right? FMVP Pei.
Yes.
He did not get to play that hero at all in the previous best of 7. So let's see if JDG is going to oblige and allow our dear Pang to play his favorite signature Tiger.
And not only that, I mean, obviously these two teams did meet off into the challenging stage as well, right? Like, so obviously we've already seen that JDG have played up against Wolves and took a 3-1 victory, which was most people actually expecting that, especially a team so grand as Wolves Esports. I'm not too sure, but I mean, I feel like there is going to be a little bit of a vendetta here for Wolves to try and prove something, because either of these teams, whoever lose goes today.
Exactly. This is why we are in the lower brackets. We are also in the knockout stages. So loser goes home today, which is going to be really unfortunate, but they will secure themselves at least a top 8 finish in the entire 2025 KPL Grand Finals, which is a great feat so far.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're up against some of these best teams, right? I mean, like JDG, they came from the elite group, right? So they were kind of like seen as the lesser bunch, but they have definitely proved themselves here. Obviously, the last match they played off within the knockout stage against KSG, they lost a 4-1, but now they've got to prove something, right? Obviously, they need to make sure they play their best drafts, they play and execute beautifully here against Wolves Esports, or it is going to be bid farewell.
And it is going to be a little bit interesting because we're going to take you back a little bit into the past in our first ever KWC. This was the KPL Dream Team. And both captains were part of this squad. So No Fear, who was the roamer for the KPL Dream Team, once again will be the roamer and captain for the side of JDG, going up against the captain, Pang himself in the jungle. So having played together, do you think there's any chance that they will be able to one-up each other in this particular matchup?
I mean, it seems so long ago, right? I mean, that was like literally all the way like back last year. So I feel like maybe these two players have definitely obviously improved by then. They've probably taken on different roles here. Obviously, No Fear is going to be the support now. He's no longer the jungler as well. So obviously he's now gone back into a support role here. So we've seen obviously his signature pick like the Kong Kong come through. And I feel like that was the only game they actually won the victory over KSG as well, right?
I think it's more of a comfort pick, right? Because you know exactly what you need to do. The competition was well-rounded for the Kong Kong to really shine. They had a very tanky lineup with an Ogren as well, right? So this is actually, with the Ogren pick, it's something that Pang loves. And I think if they don't play their cards right and allow Pang to get the hands on the Ogren, it's kind of like a soft guarantee win for that game for Wolves Esports as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Ogren's just like such a great raid boss, right? Obviously, great front lines, able to kind of just drive a lot of damage, but also soak a lot of that damage as well. So you kind of like forcing your enemy team to build a lot more anti-heal, get a lot of CC onto their draft as well. And if you don't execute that CC well enough, then it's kind of like bid farewell. Well, good night, right? Like Ogren coming through, it's a hard train to stop.
Yes, it is. And of course, with that being said, it also depends on the itemization. We have seen the major differences here, right? Some of the tank junglers like to go for the Blazing Cape, but sometimes when you need a little bit more lifesteal, you go for the Dragon Rage instead. And we've seen the Marksman over the past, 4 or 5 days, just a single half defensive item in the form of the Protector Cuirass does make the biggest difference in those miniature team fights or those little skirmishes across the map, which then, snowball into this really huge lead.
Yeah, I mean, you can even go for like the Cuirass of Savagery. Sometimes you get that Ominous Premonition come through as well, right? Like if you've got some like enemies on your heroes on the enemy team that are a little bit more slippery, it's kind of like something like the Pei, right? Like if you want to try and lock that Pei down, stop it going any further and trying to escape out of that team fight, go for something like an Ominous Premonition to get that basic slow speed down and movement speed down onto the enemy team is something you definitely want to be looking at kind of building for your marksman.
That's right. And of course, when we get the game started, right, the first consideration is, okay, what kind of combinations will the teams pull? Do we get the Yang Jian Dolia combination, right? That has been shown so many times across a few days. We also have the Master Lupan and Lupan number 7 coming in for that lane. But let's go to the stage and take a look at what's happening. that was the introduction for both of these teams here. So JDG rocking a very strong lineup as well as Wolves. Anything you really want to pay attention to today?
I mean, just like we kind of already pointed out, right? Obviously, it's Captain against Capitano. Like, no fear going against Pang is something that the matchup that I really want to be seeing here, seeing the kind of like the strength of which mind comes out on top of this one within this best of 7. I mean, it's been a bit of a flurry so far within the knockout stage. We've had some best of 7s, we've had some 4-0 yesterday as well, right? So we don't know what we're really getting into here, considering that obviously JDG have already beaten Wolves 3-1, and obviously there is extra rounds on the board here, so that could be the potential turnaround, right? Like, just because you're up 3-0 doesn't mean you are going to be the victor within the best of 7, because you are at the behest of that ultimate battle as well.
Yes, Wolves is also known as a team that has really conjured quite a few miraculous comebacks as well. You know, losing the series at the start with a 3-0 scoreline, but coming back 4 games in a row to take the entire series back in the bag. So that is something that is a big potential today. But the question here is, I would like to focus on the jungle here, right? Jingyu for the side of JDG hasn't had the best performance so far in the past few games, but Pang has been on a tear so far. And I hope this is going to be an interesting challenge, because whoever falters in the jungle definitely will leave a big gap for the team to fill.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, we've already pitted up jungle against jungle. Obviously, we've already kind of like shined on Pang being such a great jungle player within the KPL. But I mean, if we look at obviously JDG as well, their mid lane Rung seems to be one of the kind of like shining players for me, especially in their last series of going up against KSG, right? Like, he seemed to be like the driving force, especially on like picks like the newer as well. I feel like if Wolves focus that mid lane, put a lot of pressure onto Rung, it could be a scary game here for JDG.
It's the only situation and place where 2 wrongs make a right? So let's go to the stage and take a look at what's happening, and you know, welcome our host as well.
"欢迎来到2025年王者荣耀 KPL 年度总决赛淘汰赛第6日的比赛现场。大家好，我是天云，欢迎大家。今天依旧是败者组的比赛。胜者晋级，败者将彻底告别本届年总，止步8强。究竟是重庆狼队迅速调整，战至终章，还是北京 JDG 坚定所幸，绝处逢生呢？让我们共同拭目以待。那么接下来就让我们有请今天登场的第一支战队，欢迎重庆狼队。
Let us welcome Wolves Esports.
"接下来，让我们有请今天登场的第2支战队，欢迎北京 JDG。
And now introducing JDG Gaming.
逐云霄志，狭路勇者胜。是重庆狼队能够
Alright,
拿
so
下
both
比赛
teams raring to go once again. We will take a look at their journey here. It's a best of 7. Winner goes forward, loser goes home.
联总征程，我们共同拭目以待。
Alright, so this is going to be the grand finals knockout stage. Captain versus Captain Pang against No Fear. Game number 1 is so important, as we have seen in the past 5 days, right? Like, getting that first win sets the tone. It might even lead you to be on track for a 4-0 win, such as the series yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we say it sets the tone. We say it's kind of like the grand marker to have within a best of 7, but it's not the be-all and end-all, right? Like, we've seen teams come all the way back from like 3-0 defeats. They've had to get a little bit wild, get the kind of like the feet going onto the gorge before they can actually try and get some points there. And this is the beauty of that best of 7 format, right? Like, just because you lost game number 1 doesn't mean that 2 more games, that's it, it's over. It's like, no, this is now a marathon. It's no longer a sprint for these players.
That's right, and of course the players now, there's going to be a substitute for the side of Wolves. Sakura is going to be in the clash lane. Pang, as we all know, is going to be in the jungle. Now in the mid, this is going to be a special one. We're going to have Juan here, looking for the best possible situation. He will be looking to step up today in the mid lane because it's going against the other mid laner, Rong, which we'll talk about later. But in that farm lane, the duel, the one that starts everything, to be on track, it is Track himself. He's going to be one of the masterminds on the side of Wolves Esports to try and bring this series to a big win and victory for the side of Wolves. And on his support and roam as well, it has to be the one and only one.
The one and only, I mean, named promptly, right? Like, very aptly named. He has to be the one. I mean, especially in terms of support players as well. They are the potential play makers and the play setups for these team fights, right? Especially when they go for those tankier, more bigger heroes into that farm lane.
Yes, it is. So, of course, they will be looking to put up their best performance, but the challengers are looking for the same kind of results as well. We're going to have our dear Whisper in the clash lane. He has been performing pretty decently in the clash lane. How well can he hold against the new incoming player, substitute Sakura? Meanwhile, in the jungle, we have to take a look at Jingyu. Jingyu has been trying his best, right? A couple of nice picks so far. He needs the team to back him up because so far, he has not hit that potential that he really needs to be at for the side of JDG. Maybe today is that day. And for all of you new to the side of HOK, this is one of the old veterans of the sport itself. Wrong! The man that has claimed multiple titles, multiple victories, looking to really bring it to the next level in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, Rong's one of these players. I mean, I have to give a shout out to my nan, right? My nan was watching this with me the other day, and she was like, I love his hair. He's got a bit of red in it. I was just like, okay, nan, I'll make sure I say that on broadcast for you. So, Rong, you do have a fan in my grandmother, my nan. And obviously, as we see here, the support, the Capitano of the side of JD Gaming is going to be none other than No Fear. So, obviously, a very familiar face to those within the KPL. They know No Fear as obviously previously being jungle player, but now is going to be at the Capitano role as the support.
Yes, and I think they have this air of confidence on the side of JDG, right? I think it's a slightly different energy coming from the side of Wolves Esports. They're looking to dominate, it feels like. And of course, game number 1, this is not just a battle between the 5 players itself. It's also a mental battle with the coaches because they need to give them the right tools, the right drafts to have the edge over the other.
Yeah, I mean, this is the beauty of Honor of Kings, right? Obviously, it's not just about what takes place onto the Gorge. I mean, it's a game of 4D chess, especially within those drafts as well, right? Like, you've got to try and like, hey, do we get the desired draft that we want to go for in game number 1? Or do we try and get like a core, go for something that's going to be a little bit more of a comfort for the team, but it's going to also be a chance of burning out some great picked onto the enemy team, right? Like we've seen sometimes where teams have drafted not quite conventionally, but able to get the wins and take off some huge picks within this ultimate, this global ban pick, right?
Yes, I mean, definitely in KPL, game number 1, I think it's the scariest because everything is open. So you need to be really careful about what you're taking away in the bans. At the same time, making sure that you leave options for yourself in the later parts of the series, because we've seen teams kind of crumble where one particular laner gets 4, 5 heroes banned, even for that particular lane, right? For the jungle, for the farm, and then it gets super difficult for you to perform.
It gets super difficult, and we start to see obviously like the heroes like the Futsu come through as well, right? Like we've seen, I think it was literally the KSG game where we saw the Futsu came through as well with JD Gaming, where it's kind of like, yes, you get to that point within the best of 7 format where you have to kind of try and substitute your carry for elsewhere. You've got to try and get pickoffs and try and think of a little bit more of a different motive for your team's composition.
Yes, it is. And I feel like the biggest question that we have to ask for the start of JDG is, number 1, do they really want to, prio that Conqueror for No Fear? Because he has performed fantastically on this hero. I think it gives them a good boost of confidence as well. You definitely need to win game number 1.
You do need to win game number 1, but like I said earlier, it's kind of like if JDG are able to get game number 1 on the board, it doesn't mean it's going to be the kind of like be-all or end-all here for Wolves Esports. For me personally, I feel like there's a little bias here. I mean, naturally for me with Wolves Esports, because I am from Wolverhampton in the UK, which is where this club literally just originates from. So I feel like even though I shouldn't be, there's a little bit of that undertone there going for me. So I want to see how they clap back after obviously losing against JDG in that 3v1 in the challenge stage.
Definitely. I think it's less of biasness because actually Wolves Esports, they have this tremendous history behind them as well. Wolves have been the champions of KPL time and time again in the past, but they have not been able to find that flair just yet in the more recent seasons. So this is definitely a day where they have to prove their point, because this is lower bracket. It's do or die today.
Exactly. There is so much on the board here for both of these teams, right? Like, do they cement their place going forward into the 2025 KPL Grand Finals, or do they go home? Which is, again, just like, out of all these 10 players here on stage, neither of them want to go home, right? Like, they want to pursue further into the KPL Grand Finals.
For sure, you've really put in so much effort to reach this stage, right? Going through all the qualifiers, going through all the heated challenger stages as well, and finally breakout stage, you're done. You are at the knockout stage. I mean, you have done so much work to come here. You do not want it to end on this day.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine this, like a bit of a dream run, a bit of a kind of like a bit of maybes, maybe nots happening right now. If JD Gaming win this one, and then obviously they go up against whoever loses against AG Superplay and KSG, obviously from tomorrow. Imagine if it's going to be that rematch from the upper bracket down to the lower bracket. It's a rematch of the elimination, right? Like, that's going to be really put a different element and a different spin on this matchup that could potentially happen tomorrow, later on within the grand finals.
I mean, I absolutely love it, right? We all love the big challenges, and it's challenges that give you the chance to be great. So today, both these teams, once again, have been given one opportunity to really reach higher standards, because we call for the best. This is the best out of the top 8 teams in KPL for this particular Grand Finals.
Exactly right. Like, both of these teams, like I've already mentioned before, especially with JD Gaming, they were obviously within the elite groups. They were top of the elite groups, which got them straight into the knockout stage. Obviously, they didn't have to fight into the breakout stage there. But then obviously Wolves Esports, they were top 4 within the master group, right? So this is like the creme de la creme. They are up there, man. Like, this is a huge mountain for them to climb. But JDG have done it once before, but can they do it again?
Which is super crazy, right? Because if you're really just basing it off of tierings, that is not supposed to happen. But with that being said, right now, I mean, it's KPL. Anything can happen. All the teams are at the top tier level here. They have learned so much about the games, learned so much about each other. And right now, it really is about, can we spot those weaknesses in not only the draft, draft, but the rotations, the buffs, the team fights, every single thing matters here.
Every single thing matters, obviously, into the draft, onto the Gorge as well, right? Because obviously, that's why we're going to be seeing a lot of the action take place. Because, I mean, we're both from Global, aren't we, kid? Like, we've seen the teams, that the difference between the KPL teams and the difference between the Global teams, right? There's a lot of fights for those little objectives, those little bits of resources. So you're going to be seeing a lot of kind of like tit for tat going on just to contest for even something like the Spike Tail Beast, right? Like, they just really want to get the extra goal at the board because that's all that really matters is those resources. Getting your lead in those resources is really going to excel your early game.
Yes, because it could be a 30 seconds difference between getting a full item or half an item. And that is a major difference, right? Imagine getting an Eternity Blade at the 3.5 minute mark, ready to just get that crit damage in. In comparison to someone who has not even completed one singular core item, the damage output in fights will be very crazily different. So this is why they're wrestling over all these small objectives. At the same time, we know KPL, right? Once you get a buff, you have the timer, we will go again.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing, man. Like you watch Honor of Kings, and there's just so many levels that you kind of break it down to. And the fact is, the one thing I really enjoy, obviously, within the KPL leagues, when you watch in these games, is the fact that, like, the attention to the timers is so crazy. Like, I struggle to find out what my teammates are doing in my ranked games, right? Like, but these guys, not only have they got timers of skills in their heads, they've got the timers of the camps going on. If they steal either the blue or the red buff, they know that they are like, right, okay, that's going to be a priority for the enemy team to try and actually reclaim the next Crimson or the next Azure Golem. Do we go for a fight? Are we set up in our side lanes? Like, there's all these things going on in these boys' head, and they have a lot to think about. And that's the beauty of Honor of Kings Esports, is just that level of kind of understanding that we see today on stage.
Yeah, absolutely lovely. I love that you pointed out, because actually when we talk to, you know, some of the top global team players, they have scrimmed against, you know, KPL-esque teams, and they feel like, you know, even before the timing itself, maybe at the 3 minute mark, they already know what they're looking for. But here's the side selection. JDG gonna be on the blue side with a 37% win rate. Wolves different, 75% on that red side.
Yeah, that's a heck of a disparity, right? Like 75 to 37. I know which odds I'm taking my favor of, but we're going to get into the BP here of game number 1 between JD Gaming and Wolves Esports. And those are two great mid lane picks being taken off there. The Hayue as well as the Cap Boom.
Yeah, so Haya, very good at locking people down, isolating them, making a 4v4 fight. And now we will not get the Master Lupin and Lupin number 7 combination, right? So JD Gaming have taken that out of the potential picks. Likewise, like you mentioned, Wolves, they do a double whammy here, no Yangjian, as well as no Cat Boom. So this opens up a couple of doors. Allgrid is looking like the first potential prio pick for the side of JD.
I mean, you said it in introduction, Kin, right? Like, he was like, hey, we need to make sure that Pang doesn't get the pay, doesn't get that Orgrin. And JD Gaming are just like, you know what? Let's get the Orgrin in game number 1, right? Like, it's a good blue side pick. It's already cementing that jungle, that huge Titan into the jungle. But now, Wolves Esports get to respond with the greatness, right? Obviously, the Conqueror here, one of Nofi's picks gets taken away. And the one thing I really love about this pick is the fact that it can steal items away from the enemy team and give them over. It's like so crazy, so brief, but such a cool little nuance there for that hero.
Yes, and a lot of people underestimate the tankiness of the Conqueror, right? Actually, his puppets actually soak up quite a bit of damage as well. And with the stun probably going to be equipped by the side of 1, he will be very adept at starting team fights, which means a lot of open space for track on this RD. And this might be a problem for JD Gaming if they don't have enough tanks. But the Haino, I love this pick, should be able to deal enough sustenance against the lineup of Wolves Esports here.
Yeah, I mean, depending on where that Hayano is going to go, right? Obviously, can go Clash, can go mid lane, right? Obviously, we do see the Scepters of Fate being such a great way to poke out the enemy team, do a lot of damage before they even get close to you. And I mean, when you've got something like the Orgrin on your team as well, right? Like, that's going to be a big obstacle here for the side of Wolves Esports to get even in close to the side of JD Gaming.
Okay, now this is not a main hero. This is a signature hero coming from the side of Pang. They allowed it. This is the signature pick, the FMVP pay for the side of Pang. Now, will we get the Byron in the Clash lane, or will they go for something even greedier like the Chicha here?
I mean, we'll have to wait and see, right? Obviously, Chicha being one of the new heroes onto Honor of Kings, especially within KPL. can be flexed, obviously, Clash, Farm, or even the jungle. It's had a little bit more of a victory and success within the Clash lane, I have to say. Obviously, just be able to kind of like pick up the back lines. But now that we have obviously Pang on the pay, we're looking at that kind of like early game kind of aggression for the side of Wolves Esports.
Okay, I'm a little concerned for the life of Yi on the side of JDG, who's going to be the farm laner here, taking up the Geya, because there's not enough protection. There's no Suliet, there's no Zhang Fei, there is no Shi, there is no Lady Shen. A lot of lack of protection, and there we go. That is the stock standard combination. Byron and the pay coming in for the side of Wolves Esports.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be an avid watcher of KPL, right? I mean, you can just watch some global Honor of Kings esports as well, and you'll see this pairing come through. Such a great kind of like Clash jungle core gameplay coming from Wolves Esports here. But the Lu Bu is going to be the direct counter here, going to be the Clash lane. Obviously, a good playoff here onto the Byron.
Wow, I like this response coming in, the Cheyenne coming in, right? So not only do they have heals, they also have the true damage coming in from Whisper if this Lupu hits his first skill consistently in a team fight. So which means you kind of dwindle the efficiency and value of this Byron pick for the side of Sakura.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like ensuring a little bit more late game here for the side of Wolves Esports as well, right? Obviously the Xiao Xiao as well as the Ali. But we was talking about, obviously, the Goya not quite having the protection here down to the bot side of the map in terms of a tank. Yes, they're going to get the healing here from the Diane, but is it going to be enough to keep this marksman alive?
Yeah, I think that's a fairly good question, because end of the day, the mobility coming in from the side of Wolves Esports is a little bit scary if you ask me. JD Gaming, like, look, Geya as a hero is quite mobile. Cheyenne can follow suit as well with her passive. Once she gets damaged, she gets extra movement speed as well. But it's a little concerning because they have a lot of burst potential on the side of Wolves.
They do have a lot of burst potential, to be fair. I mean, like, if you thought, like, Orgrid, I mean, pay wasn't enough, right? I mean, it's on Pang here. It's going to be very frightful. It's going to definitely bring the pain that you need here for the side of Wolves Esports. So try and kind of like upset that early game here for JD Gaming, because really, if you're looking at JD Gaming, the Orgrid needs a little time to get online, right? Like, you need to make sure you're getting that little bit of itemization, get that tankiness online, because like you were saying, Ken, the amount of burst here for Wolves Esports is a bit nuts going right now.
I think the biggest concern for me is actually Whisper, because Whisper in the early parts, like, Lupu is a great hero, but he only really comes online in the later parts of the game, right? So if he gets shut down with the first blood, or even just early kills coming from the side of Wolves, it's going to impact his game a lot. So JD Gaming has given Wolves a choice. Do you go for Wrong on his Hano, or do you go for Whisper on the Lupu?
That's what they're going to be calling for, right? Obviously, do they put the pressure up into the top side of the map? Obviously, we do like to see within, obviously, HOK Esports, where opening up one of these side lanes is pretty detrimental to your enemy, right? Like, if you open up either the Clash or the farm lane, you are respectively opening up the access for the Azure Golem, for the Crimson Golem to be kind of hotly contested. And we know here within the KPL, right? Like, as soon as you give one of these teams an inch, they will take a mile.
Exactly, and there is a little bit of a timer on the side of Wolves Esports. Yes, the Pei is a very early game-centric hero, but it gets riskier as the later the game goes. Now, they have the Arlie to be able to, you know, nullify that late game disadvantage, because Arlie is a late game beast as well. But then it all comes down to, can you even get to the late game here?
Yeah, that's the question, right? I mean, that's going to be the question on everybody's minds. Can they get into the late game? But I mean, if they do get into the late game, right, obviously this is where team fights are definitely going to be the kind of like the difference maker between these two teams. Like, in terms of sustainability, if we're looking at JD Gaming, right, they have a lot of sustainability from the Orgrid, from the Taiyan. There's a lot of healing coming from that team comp, right? So you can imagine that it's going to be a little bit harder for Wolves Esports if they do get into that late game territory, which we kind of already seen that maybe they will falter here. But how are they going to dismantle this team fight if they do get there?
I think it's really dependent on the support on the side of JDG, because you know for the fact that the coaches on the side of JDG have drafted a healing composition. It's to outlast that early game aggression. Wolves Esports are looking to fight. Right now, if JDG survive the first 10 minutes of the game without dying too much, they will naturally progress into the late game, and it's going to be a much easier, I mean, maybe more straightforward finish for them on the side of JDG.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you're using words like easy. I mean, it's making me feel a little bit uneasy here, kid. It's like, does he know what he's getting into? I mean, he's been on broadcast for a few more days than I have, but I don't think the actual word easy exists within KPL, right? Like, anything can happen here, especially if both of these teams do get to that 10-minute mark as well, right? Like, obviously, we know within Honor of Kings, getting to that 10-minute mark, the game literally goes 50-50.
Yes, and with that, we want to hear the fans cheer as well. Game number 1. Let us head to the stage. Wonderful cheers from the crowd here, and you can see straight away JDG achieving what they need to start in the early parts of the game, right? Jingyue going in for the task ball steal, and in the farm lane, Yi already having a slight advantage against Trek by taking the Firehawk away.
You're taking the Firehawk away. Obviously, they got the boars into the mid lane as well, right? Which is what we're talking about into the draft. Like, you need to get Orgren those extra little bit of resources. Like, you can't just play in your own jungle if you are an Orgren, right? You want to be kind of taken away, especially on something like a pay here as well. Taking away any kind of resources you can gather just so you can get online a little bit quicker.
Yeah, and also pay attention that they have done a lane swap on the side of Wolves, right? They want to make sure that they... Not Wolves, sorry. JDG actually making sure that they are able to get that lane. No, actually, okay, never mind. Whatever, they did a lane swap here.
They did a lane swap. There we go. Obviously, we're seeing the earlier top side of the map here going up against the Hino once again. Obviously, it was Lubu, but Lubu's like, you know what, guys? I'm having a bit of a hard time here. Let me just try and obviously just focus the mid. Maybe like just crash the mid wave here so that Orgren can then come through and try and get that extra little bit of resources. But you're seeing just that 3-man buddying system, right? You have the support, the mid, and the jungle just all kind of like formulated here. And the same thing's been replicated here for JD Gaming.
Yep, they're wanting to start that gold sharing, very important. You can see the damage coming from Juan on this Xiao Xiao pick, right? Level 3, but still does a decent amount of damage against Xingyi, even though he has a 2-level advantage on this Orgren.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at it, right, like, where's the dive going to come from this early on onto something like a Xiao Xiao? Like, there's nothing really there that's going to be able to kind of, like, if that second skill's being kind of expanded there, the knockup that normally stops those ganks, it's going to be a little bit harder for them to actually climb on top when they don't really have that kind of dive potential here for the side of JD Gaming.
Yes, it's too early to really get an aggressive play here, right? And you can see Wolves Esports, I like the way that KPL teams play. They speed up the jungle so fast for Pang. Like, all he has to do is to make sure he's on time, make sure he's at the correct part of the map. The buffs will be ready for him to just smite or get the last hit.
Yeah, if any of my teammates are watching this currently, this is what you need to do, right? When I'm locking in jungle, speed up my jungle, right? That's how we're going to get the wins. I mean, this season's been pretty hard for me so far, so that's what we were going to be looking at. So take notes, get your pen and pad out, or if you're a new style kid, get your iPad out. But no, right now, obviously, the gold has actually gone over to the side of Wolves Esports, when really it was starting to begin with JD Gaming.
Yes, because they had the initial invade, right? And the response from the side of Wolves was really great. So not only did they manage to secure the rest of their buffs, but here we go, another steal. But is it worth it? Because level 7, he will be able to make it out so far. The heals coming in from Nofia have been phenomenal.
They have been. This is what I was talking about within the draft, right? Obviously, the sustainability is definitely going to be more towards JD Gaming because of the Orgren, because of the Diana as well. But I mean, if we're looking, obviously, Wolves Esports, you're looking at those bigger those big team fight initiators, right? Obviously, Sakura on the Byron is really going to be kind of trying to get into the back line here, JD Gaming, towards that, like, the mid to late game, trying to open up the back line.
And you can see, Wolves, they're looking, but there's no entry. There's no opening that is available for the side of Wolves Esports to really take advantage of, right? JD Gaming, they've been positioned really, really safe so far.
They have. I mean, they think they have to, right? Like, if you start to give over that first blood, especially if you go into something like the pay, right? Like, that's going to be scary for the side of JD Gaming. They know they're going to be behind, but there's going to be a 2v1 kind of curtail up to the top side of the map here, forcing out that Tremble Mortals just so he can keep himself alive, is Whisper.
Okay, so they wanted to get more damage on the T1. Great job by the side of Whisper, knowing that he could hold on a little bit longer, delay the take. At the same time, this opened up the doors for the side of JD Gaming to really get their hands onto that first time of the game. Very fast movement, and this is exactly what they need, because if you're looking at the MO of what's supposed to happen if you're on the side of Wolves Esports, it's not this. They needed to have the kills, they needed to have the first blood, they needed to get more fighting time. on the gorge, but it's not happening.
Yeah. Like you said, the position here for JD Gaming has been pretty phenomenal so far. Obviously, not kind of like overzealous, not overextended, kind of giving over those kind of like fatal kills to the side of Wolves Gaming. But like we were saying there, Wolves Esports, but we're saying there, obviously, there was a lot of pressure in top side of the map here. Able to get that Tyrant is going to be a good use here for the side of JD Gaming, but not enough damage to take out the Byron just yet.
I think at this point, JD Gaming, they don't really have to win any team fights. They just have to make sure they don't die, right? Because they are on a different set of timers. It's all about, can we get more farm within the first 10 minutes? If we get a 15 minutes, this game, essentially in theory, should be over.
Yeah, JD Gaming are waiting for the bus. Wolves Esports are running after it like a dog, right? Like, they need to get onto that bus because they're going to be late. And they don't want to be late going into that late game because that's where we've already said within the draft that JD Gaming are really going to shine here.
Yes, and you can see the value that No Fear has on this Giant is just completely out of control. There's no potential. You don't even see the window for a potential kill. And now, this is swinging very much in favor of JD Gaming. Now, the door is really open. Now, the only question is, JD Gaming, how many turrets will they lose in this bid for buying of time?
Yeah, I mean, they've got to make sure, right? Obviously, they're just kind of not committing too much into the top side of the map here onto the side of JD Gaming. It's just kind of like Lubu's going to be there to maybe try and push away this minion wave, but they do have the kind of minion there. He's able to actually use that skill just to wipe them out, but there is just another minion wave naturally crashing through here. So like you were saying, Kid, are they looking to lose that T2 to the top side of the map, which we've already seen like time and time again with some of these KPL teams, right? They like to get that T2 in the clash lane very early, so then it kind of puts and takes away that safe space for their enemy team.
Yep. I mean, if you can't take the T1, then the most natural choice is, okay, let's get a T2. But here we go, potential first blood? No, there's no way they get that.
No, unfortunately, there was a lot of damage coming through. Obviously, some of these players are now having to get the itemization online, right? Obviously, we can kind of see here from the Xiao Qiao very knowingly well going for that venomous stab.
Oh, they're going in!
Heal, but we are getting a bit of a team fight right now. Obviously, we do see a lot going on here. Xiao Qiao getting that poke damage onto the side of JD Gaming, but still nobody taking any L's.
I mean, it's already very difficult to deal with the Ogren, especially when he has his Death's Precipice, right? That swipe, he has the lifesteal. But then now you have the heals of No Fear as well.
You do have the heals of No Fear as well. Like, coming through, just trying to peep there. But in the first blood is going to be taken down here at Wolves Esports. Yeah, that's going to be going over to Track, getting his team on track to try to get this early to mid-game victory here for them. They don't want to get on track into that late game.
And once again, it's Xingyu, right? The jungler on the side of JD Gaming. He has overstepped quite a few times in the past few days, and this could be a cause of concern. Wolves Esports, the door's open.
Oh, the Tremble Mortals onto two to the back line. JD Gaming are looking for an answer here, but Ali's getting the pickup here onto the Goya as well. So that's a 1-1 trade so far between these two teams. They're looking for a little bit more blood here, but this is the Byron. He's sustaining. He's looking to get out, but there's the true damage here coming from JD Gaming's Whisper, but he does fall as well. It's a long drawn out team fight for both of these teams, but a 2-2 trade overall is very even Stevens.
Yes. Maybe a slight advantage for Wolves, right? Because they got that initial kill on the Jingyu at the same time. Now he has no buffs, and this is where the invasion starts. Wolves, you can see straight away the pressure comes in.
Yeah, pressure comes in. They're looking to open themselves, trying to get that Crimson Golem, but they actually don't steal it away there. So a little bit of a farewell for the side of Wolves Esports out of the side of JD Gaming in jungle there.
But they force it on the Fear, right? So they do get that second Tyrant of the game on the side of JD Gaming. But then you start to see, hey, the map is getting a little bit smaller. Wolves Esports, they can't win the fights. It's okay, we take the map.
They're taking the map, but I mean, at the same time, is taking the map going to get them the resources that they need, right? Because, I mean, right now, if you're looking at Wolves Esports, they have a lot more access into JD Gaming's jungle than JD do for Wolves, but there it is. A lot of burst damage. The ultimate coming from the Xiao Qiao, but again, just another kill going off the Track. That's really going to make sure this Ali is shining for the side of Wolves Esports in game number 1. As we see here, Pang, look at the rotate, get that T2 down to the bot side as well as into the clash lane.
Yeah, beautiful work coming in from the side of Wolves Esports. This is exactly what they want to have, right? Of all the people you want out of the game for the next few seconds, it has to be Yi, because he's the main carry in the later parts of the game as well. The Goya needs to have the farm, and now that farm is going to be dwindled.
It is going to be dwindled, right? I mean, that's definitely one way to kind of punish your enemy's GPM, right? That gold per minute. It's just completely get them off the gorge, man. Like, hey, you aren't going to get any resources if you aren't on the map. And that's exactly what Wolves Esports are doing here. They're punishing JD Gaming. You're into that bot side of the map.
And you can start to see the value of the lineup for the side of Wolves. They're so slippery, it's very hard to catch any of the members out. Even, I mean, maybe Juan is the only one that you might have a chance to catch if he has no flash.
Yeah.
But here we go, once again, pressure putting down.
Pressure being put down. I mean, they're just kind of just poking. They're playing with their food, right? Wolves Esports, they're up by about 2k gold right now. Like, they're having the time of their life. They're just looking to try and deny away against another tyrant here for the side of JD Gaming, but that is going to be wrong going down. That's going to be a lot of poke, a lot of damage being taken from JD Gaming.
That's not the only pain point. So besides losing this 10-minute Tyrant, they have actually got a little bit of damage on the T3 on the top. So now Wolves, all they have to do is to make sure they get a little bit more, maybe even get the T3 altogether. And then this game is starting to look a little shaky from inside of JD Gaming.
This is what I'm saying, man. Like, the KPL is just all about a little bit more. Like, if you keep giving them a little bit more, they're going to take so much from you there. Obviously, that triple mortal just there to push away. Track on the Ali, but it's not going to stop him getting a takedown onto Fear. Getting the takedown onto Whisper as well as Jin Yu. Into the bot side. That's a 4-0 trade for Wolves game in game number 1.
And that is why they're so fearful here. Last one on the ball. Wrong is going to be the last one. It's an ace. And Wolves, they take this.
Wolves take that with a clean entrance into game number 1, right? Like, they definitely made JD Gaming suffer. But this is the problem. We were talking about the strat that JD Gaming were doing, right? They were just kind of keeping away. They were waiting for the bus. But onto the side of Wolves Esports, they were the dog chasing the bus, and they were able to catch up and get on board. I mean, I'm not too sure how a dog's going to pay for his fare, but they do with game number 1 for Wolves Esports.
Yes, so this is a combination of a bunch of different factors, right? The first thing first, let's talk about Yi on the side of JDG, who was the farm laner. Him as the Guardian getting caught out in that particular skirmish was not the situation that was supposed to happen. At the same time, nobody was able to lay hands onto Trek, who was the corresponding farm laner on the side of Wolves Esports. So actually, Wolves was allowed to get that growth, and you needed a lot more time. There was still a necessary minimum of 5 minutes of farming for the side of JDG before they could really hit those markers they were looking for.
Exactly. Again, we were just talking about those points over and over again, right? Like, it's not only just the timers of what's happening under the gorge, it's the timers of, like, knowing when your enemy hero comp is going to come online. And like you were saying that, Ken, they still had another 5 minutes to actually get them to the position they needed to be in, especially a very healthy position there, because, I mean, we saw time and time again, Track was just laying down the smackdown onto the side of JD Gaming, picking up those kills onto the Ali, and there was nobody stopping him.
And one thing I think really gave the team of JDG a little bit of confidence was the fact that you remember they had their 2-2 trade in the river. I think that gave them the confidence that, okay, we're going to win the team fight. But unfortunately, that timing was also super bad for them because it was right at the 10-minute mark, right after that horrible fight for them. And then Wolves had all the advantage. You have the Tyrant buff, you had the waves crashing in, T3s under pressure on both ends, top and bottom as well.
Yeah, really composing that one nicely there, Wolves Esports. Obviously, just making sure that 10-minute mark was getting set up there was enough for them just to break through, get that team wipe, and then take the crystal in game number 1, which is really just showing here, just the level of understanding of this game here within KPL is just so crazy. It's like, yes, it looked like JD Gaming was having like the time of their lives within the early game just by not being punished by Wolves Esports, but Wolves Esports was like, we're loan sharks, baby. Like, you've got something for us, and we need to get that from you, and you need to pay up. And that's exactly what it was, that 10-minute timer.
Yeah, the timer was not the friend of JDG for sure this game. It was also not the friend of Wolves at the start of the game, but we will take a look at the itemization, as well as kind of consider. I would actually put the MVP of this game onto Track, because I think he was pretty much on track the entire game, right? No deaths, managing to squeeze in the fights, getting the damage in onto the important members as well, taking the lives of E, and just essentially melting down the composition that JDG had to offer across the entire lineup.
Exactly. So let's take a look into that itemization now, as Ken was just talking about. So we're literally having a look here. So yeah, I mean, Wolves Track here, definitely looking to get that MVP within his belt here. 612, like, he was not slowing down at any moment, going for those core itemizations, right? The Spark Forge Dagger, the Doomsday, even getting Daybreaker at 10 minutes, man. That's when you know your marksman is online, right?
Yeah, so lightning damage, physical damage, and percentage health base damage, and more importantly, armor shred. That is the true value of track over here. Now, I think the other person, obviously, we have to keep our eyes on is Pang here, dealing 55,000 worth of hero damage over to the likes of JDG. I think he might also be a contender for the MVP here.
I mean, there was a lot of damage coming through there from Pang, right? Like, obviously, on the pay, you are going to be kind of like using those long-range skills to be like that secondary kind of marksman to do a lot of damage within those team fights. And I mean, especially when you're going up against something like the Hino, right? Like, you need a little bit more range because he's going to be throwing scepters, you're going to be throwing fists, and you definitely want to be making sure that your team get into a squishier enemy team within those team fights, right?
Yeah, look at the stat here. 52 seconds of jungle invasion coming in from the side of Pang as pay, right? This is one of the reasons why he has an MVP skin on the pay. He is so notorious for diving deep, but getting maximum value from those jungle invades.
Yeah, but I mean, we have to kind of like point out as well, right? Like Juan here with the Xiao Qiao going for the Venomous Staff, as we pointed out within the game, right? Like that's where you really be looking at that mage picking up that anti-heal very early on, especially something against a Taiyan and Norgra, and really kind of like being the backbone here of Wolves Esports in game number 1.
Yes, and JD Gaming, of course, on the side of Novia, he really tried to provide the full value, Holy Grail, but here we go. It is going to be Track, the farm laner for the side of Wolves Esports. Tis Arlie definitely made the biggest difference in the skirmishes in the game, and he sets the tone. They are well on their way to the winners of this best of 7.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying, man, like game number 1, yes, it's important, but it's not going to mean that JD Gaming cannot bounce back because we've already seen a previous scoreboard. But let's speak about Track here for a moment, right? Obviously, we're going to see the highlights soon, but that 612 KDA is definitely an impressive feat here as they are obviously battling for life and death within this KPL Grand Finals knockout stage, right?
Yep, this is where things started to go a little bit awry for the side of JDG, right? Jingyu actually diving in, actually got a little bit of the hit on his Conductor of Souls, but unable to find the maximum heals there.
Yeah, I mean, that knock up onto 2 there, that Tremble Mortals for the side of JD Gaming was a really, like, hot. Like, I was honestly thinking that they would have come out a little bit more on top of that one. It was the first time that Track died, so they really did get the kind of, like, the causation that they were looking for. He's kind of taking him off of the Gorgeous for a little moment, but it was at that moment of time, is that second win for Track that was what he would needed to get himself, like, right, head in the game, let's get the victory, because we can't take any more falls from Track.
Yes, and it really is. I have to give a silent shout out to Whisper on the side of JDG. I felt like his Lupu was doing pretty well, right? He managed to get a couple of nice S1s in the battlefield, but the moment Track comes online, you cannot match that mobility.
No, you can't. Like, obviously, just using the Paracel just to get out of there, like, obviously escaping that Tremble Mortals there. I mean, it would have been nice to have something maybe like a Dolia here for the side of JD Gaming, just to give over that second Tremble Mortals if they were able to escape that first one, like we just saw there within that highlight reel. But it then means that if you get the Dolia off the board here for the side of JD Gaming, it stops that Yang Jian Dolia combo coming through later on, right? So it's definitely going back to that 4D chess we was talking about in the introduction.
Okay, so with that being said, I think the composition on the side of JDG wasn't that expensive, right? These are not like meta 0 picks all the while here. We still have the Yang and Dolia combination. There is still the Ambrosia. There is still the Meng Tian. A lot of big picks available for both sides. So advantage, of course, to Wolves Esports now as they lead the series 1-0. Any expectations? Are we looking at a 2-0 for the side of Wolves based on confidence, momentum, or are we looking for a tie here?
I mean, it could be a tie, right? But I mean, we go back to the point of obviously the lack of expensive picks on the side of JD Gaming. But if you look over to the side of Wolves, like they've lost the Byron, they've lost the Pay, like, and the Ali. Like to me, that's quite expensive, especially with the Kongonger as well, right? Like, is that going to be the kind of like the focal point here for Wolves there? They played it in game number 1. They're going to ban it out for the rest of the series. We'll have to wait and see.
For sure. I definitely think you will want to ban out the Konger if you're going up against JDG, right? No fear, that is his main hero thus far in this particular season itself, and he's very well-rounded with the other roam heroes as well. There's still a lot of combinations available, like the Lady Sun and Zhenren, which we've seen put to massive effect over the couple of different teams that we have showcased today. We also have the Dun Shan, exploring with maybe the Fatih, the Aaron, a lot of big combinations still available. So I think JDG, they're not too far behind.
Yeah, I mean, the Doonsham, man, he's just a big guy with a lot of love. Like, he has so much synergy, especially with that rework. Like, that's a hero I want to get my hands on, man. Like, that's so great, especially when you see kind of like paired with like the Sukong Gen as well, right? Like, that's going to be a huge potential here for the side of Wolves or JD Gaming going forward within this best of 7. But we have to remind those folks at home, right? This is a best of 7. That's 1 point onto the board. It's a very important point in terms of mental, in terms of sustainability and stability within this format, but it doesn't mean that JD cannot come back here.
In fact, I think you should expect that JDG will come back, because after you lose a game, this is where you're going to be put in a position where you have to quickly catch up. If not, we might see a repeat of what happened yesterday, where the team just stretched that lead further and further, and suddenly you find yourselves in a 3-0 scenario where you're literally 1 game away from being kicked out of the competition.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to kind of like talk about the past too much here between these two teams, but this is exactly what happened last time, right? Obviously, Wolves took game number 1, but then JD Gaming took game 2, game 3, game 4, back to back. And some of those games were quite long matches as well, right? Like, you were looking at 25-minute game, 23-minute match to be the series point there. So you can kind of see that with that draft within game number 1 here for JD Gaming, they were hoping to get to that kind of point within the match to get the point. But it was then obviously to the behest here of Wolves Esports. They had the early game aggression from the pay. They knew they had to execute it at that 10-minute mark, which is what happened in that challenge match as well.
I mean, you can take a look at the game timers from both teams as well, right? So Wolves Esports averaging around a 15 minutes game, and JDG is slightly longer, 16 minutes and above. So I think JDG definitely looking for the late game compositions or trying to hang on to that space before they really hit that big power spike. But it feels like Wolves Esports has that strategy figured out. Now the question is, does JDG kind of switch it up today and go for an early game draft?
I mean, it's all about a bluff, right? It's that matchup of bluffs here. Potentially, like you were saying, Kin, maybe they decide to stick with the late game draft so they can kind of just get into the groove of this. I mean, that's another good thing about a best of 7 format, right? Like, if you do lose game number 1, it's not the be all or end all. You can still find your groove within that match. Even if you lose game number 2, right? You could still come back 3 matches strong to try and get that match point there for your side of either JD Gaming or Wolves Esports.
Yes, and it's really about playing to the strengths of your composition, right? So we talk about the playstyle of JDG. Maybe they can consider the Yang Jin Dolia combination along with the Yu Huan. Massive heals, massive burst potential, and it plays really well into the late stages of the game. Now, Wolves Esports, I think we'll be looking at a more aggressive lineup. I mean, if it's worked once, why not try it again?
Exactly. I mean, if they were at the losing time, right? Like, if it was a losing game for them here and they tried the same thing twice, I would call them insane, because it is the definition of insanity. You do the same thing twice, expect a different result. But hey, Wolves like, hey, we did the thing in game number 1. We know we can win with this, even if they go for a late game team composition here for the side of JD Gaming, because we know we just have to play to that 10-minute mark, and that's exactly what they need to do, and potentially in game number 2, depending on what draft they go for here.
Okay, I like that we saw that little interaction just now. So obviously off stage they are friends as well, but in the gorge they are fierce enemies. So once again, captain versus captain. Pang here, captain on the side of Wolves Esports, has led his team to the first point in this best of 7. Can No Fear match and even that up?
They gotta hope so, right? Obviously, no fear being the captain. He doesn't want to be the losing captain. He doesn't want to be the captain on the sinking ship, right? He wants to make this rise on the tides of victory here for JD Gaming. Because if they do lose this best of 7, especially for those new just joining in right now, both of these teams are at the risk of falling out of the knockout stage, right? This is the lower bracket. It doesn't get any lower than this.
Exactly. I mean, the lowest part is probably dropping onto your bed, where you're going to be going home. Now, with that being said, I'm curious, what side does JDG pick, right? Do they go for their prior pick side, or will they try again, this time on the red side, counter pick side?
We'll have to wait and see, right? Obviously, those being the losers, they will obviously get to choose which side they do want to go for, right? I mean, it worked out very well for Wolves Esports, obviously being able to get those pickups in the early parts of the draft, right? Like, definitely kind of locking in the Conqueror is what you want to be doing, right? Especially within that first part of the draft, because if you don't get it there, it's definitely going to get banned out or picked up by No Fear. But now, Wolves have expanded that pick. Do they decide to just keep banning it away from No Fear?
That's true. And also another point to consider is the fact that, hey, game number 1, they did that lane swap, which actually allowed Track to get his hands on that first space sprite, which hastened the rotational speed for the side of Wolves Esports, right? So will they try that again if they're going to be on the red side? And is that really one of the most biggest tipping points that has allowed Wolves to keep pace with JDG?
Potentially, right? It could be what they look to go for again, because if it works once, it could work again. Just obviously, as you said, Kin hastens up not only the pace of the game, but also giving over those extra resources to Track on the early, which when you're a pick like the early, right? Like early game's not your kind of like forte. You need to get the itemization onto the Gorge. But we're getting into the BP of game number 2 here between Wolves Esports and JD Gaming, and they are going to go over to the reactive red side here. Matching Rung's hairstyle, they're going to go and try and take the red buff.
Okay, so a 40% win rate for the side of Wolves Esports on the blue side, 46, slightly high on the side of JD Gaming on the red side. Now, Kong obviously is going to be banned. There's no way you give Nofia their hero. The Master Lupan also taken out. But Dunshan will not have an appearance in game number 2 here, along with the Cat Boon. So this is going to open up quite a few doors for the side of Wolves Esports. The Sulie as the roam could be a potential pick here.
Could we go Suliak? They could lock in the Orgrim first blue pick for themselves as well, right? Like, they could definitely try and take that, because we were saying, obviously, introduction, if you give over the Orgrim to Wolves, it could be scary, but still scary here could be that Agudo, right? Obviously, matching that early game pace that we saw from Punk on the pay. They may be looking to try and get another short match here.
Yeah, for sure. And this is also, I mean, not just jungling speed, but Agudo comps are very scary in taking turrets as well, which is one of the big win conditions that Wolves achieve in the early parts of game number 1.
They do, right? I mean, they're looking at the Dao Chow here for the side of JD Gaming here. It has to naturally fall with the Flowborn tank, right? Like, that's the real time. The only 2 synergies we've really been seeing here with the Dao Chow and the Flowborn tank. So it does come through here for JD Gaming. It's a brick, right? This hero, he is a tanky guy. Like, as soon as he's into the team fight, it's going to take a lot of damage to get him off the Gorge here.
Yes, and it's going to be a 40% win rate. Not the best to be said of, but at this point, here's the second combination you can give it a try in the KPL server itself. Lady Sun and the Zhenren, 0% win rate for the side of Wolves Esports. Now, this is where I'm going to say stats don't really matter. It really comes down to the on-stage performance on the actual day itself.
That's what I'm going to say. Next time I'll lock in a hero that I don't play on ranked. Like, hey, look, it's a 0% win rate, but as Kin said, stats don't matter, so we're going to go for it here. But I'm really excited to see the Lady Sun and Ren combo here, because this is a hero that I really like the look of, right? The fact that his ultimate resurrects anything that dies up to 3 seconds prior to dying, that's great, man. Like, that's a second wind into a team fight. That really shifts what a team fight's actually going to curtail and be about between Wolves Esports and JD Gaming.
And it balances out the Sea of Fate play coming out from the side of Nofia, right? So yes, you get the save with the Sea of Fate, you come back full health, but then at the same time, you have an extra half a life, I would say, with the 4 Signs ultimate by the side of the Zhenren for the side of 1. We'll see. I think the mid lane is the main concern for the side of JD Gaming, right? They want this Nua, very long range poke. They want to limit the amount of damage that can be offered by Juan here.
Yeah, I love the understanding of Wolves Esports here as well, right? Like, the last time JD Gaming took up the Nua, it was because it was paired with the likes of the Futsu, right? Like, getting that Futsu means that you need something with a lot more long range, a little bit more late game potential here, and that's exactly what that Nua is going to do, right? But it looks like JD Gaming are going for Sukong here.
But it's a double side lane here, which means the Sukong is going to be able to deal a lot of damage. Whoever the farm laner is, I think, not that it doesn't matter, but it matters less, because there will be 2 frontal side attacks for the side of JD Gaming, while you have to deal with the tank Jingyu along with the save from the side of Nofia as well. Now, Wolves Esports, this is going to be a very big difference. Dharma, something we have not seen in a very long time in KPL. Going to be teased. And the Angela, I like the idea of a tank shred, and it looks like they will lock it in.
It looks like they are going to lock it. Obviously, the Dharma here has great team fight potential as well, right? Obviously, using those truth mantras, trying to just get the lockdown potentially here onto maybe the likes of the Nua, right? Like, try and stop this lady escaping, trying to kind of mitigate any kind of great potential here from JDG's Rung.
Okay, so they tease the whole E. It's looking like it will be set in stone here. Now, this will be the cornerstone, the foundation for the side of JD Gaming. So we know they're going to be playing those long-reaching arms strategy, right? We get you from afar, poke you down before the actual fight starts, and then we try to finish you off in one fell swoop.
Yeah, I mean, they've not only got the Annihilation, right, obviously from Rung, but they're also going to have that Burning Sun arrow for those team fight setups. Maybe trying to pair it with something like using the Burning Sun arrow, and then Jinyu goes through and obviously gets the knock up and the knockdown onto with the Flowborn tank as well. So there's a lot of potential here for JD Gaming to kind of set up that team fight from a long distance rather than playing it so close to their chest like we saw in game number 1.
Yes, and in fact, the other benefit of JD Gaming's lineup is the fact that they can actually switch into a macro gameplay really quickly because of the Eye of the Whirlpool, right, from Nofia. They can reposition, just force fake fights, and then go for the towers instead. And I feel like Wolves Esports, their composition doesn't have too much of an answer to that just here at this point.
Exactly right. Obviously, it's going to be hard for them. They need to make sure they're having that early game pressure because if you kind of like... If you're trying to stop a macro play, you want to have that pressure in the early game, right? So there is no macro to be played around with. Like, they've really got to kind of like extend out of their base, and they know they've got to be at a dangerous point. Like, if they lose their T2 into the farm lane or into the clash lane, the macro isn't always going to be at their best choice, right? Like, they could always falter to a potential gank because there's just so much room for the side of Wolves Gaming to just climb in on top of.
Yeah, I really agree with that because end of the day, I think actually one of the lanes we will see the most action has to be the farm lane. If they can actually get that lead at the early parts, then it's going to be a smooth sailing journey up until that first Tyrant. And that's where things really swing in their favor here.
I mean, this is the thing as well, right? Like, we saw Wolves Esports with a early game draft not take a single Tyrant until that 10-minute mark, right? And they were still able to finish it out in a very clean, very fast fashion. So imagine if they go for the Tyrants, go for a little bit more of that neutral objective focus here in game number 2. We could look at a frightful kind of early game finish here for the side of Wolves Esports.
Yeah, I think the game-changing plays will happen at level 2. Where, you know, this is really up onto JDG. I think the ball is in their court because they have to see a fate. You can play hyper-aggressive with the whole E. As long as you don't die to the damage of the Lady Sun, you can make it unfair, come back before that level 4 fight. Because, one, his true value is giving the extra life. Yes, he has AoE, he has a long-reaching extended stun if he latches onto you. But in the early parts of the game, you already have the save potential on the side of Nofia.
You do have the same potential on the side of No Fear as well, right? Like, obviously just using the Chow here to kind of use the Leaping Koi Tai to kind of stop the motion of the side of Wolves Esports. But I want to take a little look at Rong as well, right? Like, he's on the Angela. The anti-tank mage is going to be what they're looking to use to melt down that Flowborn tank.
For sure. Juan on this Angela going to be very big. Rong, pretty good with the Nua. We've seen great performances. But let's hear the crowd as they cheer for the team.
Game number 2 between Wolves Esports and JD Gaming. Now onto the gorge, ladies and gentlemen, as we are looking at this beginning part of the match here, Kindofu. I mean, we know Seekong Jen is actually a good lane bully, but how does he fare with this 1v1 matchup against Adama? What are we looking for here?
I mean, it's basically the first skill, right? Oh, second skill, sorry, on the side of Sakura. That lifesteal is going to be a game changer. At the same time, the rotations, you can see they're putting a little bit more focus on the side of JD Gaming on the top side for the clash because they want to wrestle away, get this... Oh, hang on, the rotation coming in. So they want to get the space sprite, right? This is going to hasten the speed of the rotation. And the one thing I feel a little bit scary for the side of JDG is the fact that the roam on the side of JDG, No Fear, is leaving the Hoey alone. In a 1v2 matchup against the Lady Sun.
I mean, hey, maybe he's just like, you know what? I know you've got this, buddy. Like, he's just got pure confidence in his farm lane, maybe, right? But at the same time, like you were saying, it could be at the detriment of the side of JD Gamer. But we do see, obviously, here, No Fear does rotate back around. He's just kind of maybe trying to get a little bit of vision here. Seeing to kind of suss out where Wolves Esports was, because we've been seeing some really fast, really aggressive rotations here, especially Pong on the Agudo.
Yes, for sure. Argudo is definitely one of those very scary heroes. I mean, with the rework itself, his role now is slightly different. You can actually bounce against walls to activate a maximum of 3 mini stuns across on your opponent. And this is going to give you extra attack stats as well.
Exactly, yeah. It's going to be just something that you're looking for just to get that early game advantage here in terms of extra stats, in terms of extra damage here coming from the teams. But right now, obviously, we're seeing basically the same thing happen in game number 1, right? Like there's a lot of kind of just tit for tat, just kind of trying to secure a lot of these extra resources. Like we've already seen the Space Sprite go over to the side of Wolves once again. But now they're looking to try and get that second one for themselves. But Chen Ren actually dives in here. They're looking to get that stun onto the Ho Yi, but oh no! First blood a little bit early here for the side of Wolves Esports. They are looking to put some pressure into that bot side.
Yeah, right now it is the Dharma. If Sakura survives this, it's horrible for the side of JD Gaming, and it looks like he might be able to make it out. But hang on, support is coming in.
Yes, he does make it out. I mean, that's a problem, right? Like you were saying there, Kin, like, yes, if they're able to get the kill onto Sakura into the top side of the map, it's a 1-1 trade. You don't get that bonus extra gold there for getting the first blood, but it just means it alleviates a little bit of pressure there. And we've had to see that Novia using the Eye of the Whirlpool to get Yi back into that lane a little bit quicker.
Yep, you don't want to miss farm, right? And for now, I think this is one of the considerations that you have to have. Let's take a look at the replay here. Very smart movement. And actually waiting, you know, that flash as well. He was waiting to which direction that the farm laner E was going to be flashing at before actually stationing himself to make sure that the experimentation hit. And what a way to start. This is the value of that second life for the 4 Signs Ultimate of 1.
I mean, to be fair, though, I mean, we just saw there as well. Obviously, almost getting taken down onto the side of JD Gaming was going to be Jin Yu, but he got that Sea of Fate out of there. Like, that was the saving call card here for the side of JD, because they would have been lost in their jungle, especially around about the 4-minute mark. Would have been scary, but even scarier is the potential takedown of the T1 into the farm lane. They are setting up a nice tyrant fight here for the side of Wolves Esports.
Yeah, you were talking about this earlier in the parts of the game. Like, does Wolves change their strat here? And they do.
They do change it. I mean, there's the Flowborn tank into the backline here, just trying to disrupt any kind of motion of the ocean here for the side of Wolves Esports. But there's the Blazing Brilliance, just keeping away the side of JD Gaming to get the Tyrant here. They're looking to get a little bit of blood onto the Dharma. Seekong Gen doing a lot of damage here, but has to kind of get out. He's in God mode, but he's not able to claim any kills.
Yeah, he can't do much here. I mean, they've already expended everything, every available resource on the side of JDG, and this is not ideal. We were talking about, hey, the strengths on the side of JDG. You have the potential to reposition around the map, get the macro game running. But for now, every single macro advantage has not been achieved.
It's not been achieved, unfortunately, here for the side of JD Gaming, right? Like, they definitely need to kind of change up a little bit of their positioning, right? I mean, yes, they have the late game potential, obviously, wrong here onto the Nua, the whole Yi as well, right? But it's going to take a lot, especially team fight potential as well, going into the late game. The huddle you don't want to be in is against Wolves Esports, especially with the Chan Ren with that resurrection.
Yes, it's a difficult thing to kind of deal with, right? You have to deal with the Angel at the same time, because if you don't, you leave Juan alone, then how does Jing Yi, the jungle of JDG, come in?
Exactly, like he just has no access. He's not a VIP, unfortunately, within this draft. Like, you've definitely got to get Juan off the table here on the Angela. It's just a great anti-tank pick here, but again, the Flowborn tank, he is a brick, but he's able to sustain that damage. This is the beauty of the Flowborn tank. He has a lot of defense.
And we're talking about the fake outs, right? So this is exactly what JDG are doing, the fake outs. And now that sneaky split push on the side of Whisper manages to find some value with the T1 on the top, but immediately stopped here. And the escape from Pang, very nice timing.
Very nice timing there as well, right? Obviously, they're stopping that hard counter there for the Agudo once he's in that third ball state. But now, I mean, we're looking at a very low health Lady Sun on the run. There's going to be the emergence going on top, but it's going to miss out so far. And I feel like if Wolves loses track, it's going to be a big punishment to their damage output.
Okay, there's maybe that opportunity, but it's looking like it's for Wolves instead.
It is looking like it's for Wolves, but there it is. There's that fake out we were just talking about moments ago, kid. Like, you think you're going to do a lot of damage onto Jinyu, their jungle, onto the side of JD Gaming. He's just going to get pulled back into base, get his health back up, get his stacks, and he's back. And that's the problem that Wolves Esports is really kind of like, you can see already it's losing their mojo.
Exactly, but you know what? The saving grace for them is the fact that number one, they have the goalie still. And the thing is, while JD is faking this fight, it also means Wolves get the option to choose. You know what? Since they're wasting our time, let's go look around the map. And right now, that is allowing them to keep the goalie.
It is allowing them to keep the gold lead. Obviously, just kind of just buying a lot of time here. We do obviously the Agudo as dismounted from Furball here, but again, just looking to use that fade out once again. But it's always going to be on the Flowborn tank, right? Like, you're not going to recall anybody else. That is literally a one-way gate for Jinyu.
Okay, it might look like the smallest thing ever, but Jingyu stealing away the Crimson Golem might have a good value now, because not only did he steal it, he got home, he's safe, they reset, and now they funnel the buffs back into Jingyu on that Azure Golem as well.
Yeah, like, they gotta just make sure that it's gotta build this momentum here for the side of JD Gaming. I mean, they're slowly starting to do it, instead of clawing back that gold lead as well. They are still 2k behind there. The Burning Sun Arrow is not going to connect onto anybody, unfortunately, but it's going to be enough to kind of split apart the side of Wolves Esports in that fight.
Yeah, right now I'm just kind of curious. Where does Sakura come into the picture, right? We know what to expect out of a Dharma. We're looking for multi-man catches. So far, that situation has not presented itself for the side of Wolves Esports.
It's not, but what maybe presented itself here is that 2v1. We're having to force the flash out here from Sakura, so obviously not going to have that flash set up with that ultimate, right? So now JD Gaming know that they've got the flash off the board. Does this mean they are going to go green light, go for a team fight, looking to make sure that the Dharma here, Sakura's Dharma, is not going to be as frightful as it once was?
I mean, at this point, it could be a situation where it's not looking the best for the side of JD. Caught now in between a tight place. They get the stun though.
Oh no. Yeah, Chenren does get hit with a stun, but I mean, is that the person you want to be hitting with a stun there? The Radiant's being built there, trying to lock in Jinyu into that, but there's the CFA once again. Either Whirlpool, forcing the flash there, onto both the Houyi, onto the Nua, there it is. Track coming through with another kill. Can he escape? That will be at the detriment here of JD Gaming if he escapes, and he does for now. But we are seeing a Whisper collapsing onto the sideline here with Jinyu.
Yep, he's gonna try and make a run for his life. They do get out scot-free, but at the same time, this opens up space, and you know the value that E wants to find across the map. He gets a T1 for the side of JD Gaming. So not all is lost. They do get a little bit of macro going in. And the T1 at the bottom, that should be a soft guarantee for JD Gaming as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, right? Just one life, but two T1s. I'd take that any day here, but there's the Annihilation. Track gets taken down to the track and shot there with the Annihilation. So Rung playing very well with that newest ultimate.
And this is what you want to see, right? JDG, this is what you think is unexpected. And this is what you need to happen when you're looking for those Burning Sun arrows. You cannot have your competitor expect the arrow, and it caught Track completely off guard. Thankfully, Wrong was in the right place there.
Yeah, right place, wrong time there for Wrong. He was able to get that the wrong time online. That's now going to be coined. It's not spelled with a W, but speaking of W's here, they're looking to go and take for the Shadow Overlord here for the side of Wolves Esports.
Yep, just the appropriate timing as well, right as the Primal Bond ended for them. And this is the 10-minute bond, so Shadow variants. Now they get the Shadow Tyrant on the side of JD Gaming, fighting prowess, but Wolves Esports, they want to restore a little bit of map control, so they get the Shadow Overlord here.
I think that's the important thing here for Wolves, right? Obviously, they've lost the T2 down to the bot side as well. Like, they're really losing ground here. I mean, as long as they hold on to their T3s, right, they're still going to be able to push away for the side of Wolves Esports. And all they need to do is take a solid team fight. But JD Gaming, we've seen it time and time again. No fear with Jinyu. Just that combo, those fate baits there for the side of JD Gaming is really kind of disrupting, I've already said it once, Wolves Esports in these team fights.
But it's working, right? So for now, they're just faking it out, and I don't think they want to commit to this team fight. It's about stealing away the resources. Now, Pang is going to secure that for the team. But here's the pain point for the side of Wolves Esports. They've taken the Shadow Overlord, but they're losing gold. At the same time, they've taken a T2 at the bottom side of the map. This was the nice stun coming in.
Yeah, nice stun there. Obviously, it was just kind of enough to kind of drive them away there. This is the 8-minute mark. This was the team fight where we saw obviously Track get the takedown here as well a little bit earlier. But now it's just a takedown. Once again, paying back dividends there. No fear getting taken down in that replay. But there it is. The Seacon Gen just kind of putting that pressure onto Track. Oh, sorry, not Track. It was actually mid lane there.
Yeah, like, I think the biggest difference was the fact that Juan, he committed his flash with the Chaos Cinder, did not hit anyone, and then he had no escape mechanisms against Whisper there. And it was a very clean-cut situation, clear kill for the side of JD Gaming. And it's mistakes like this, hang on, potential catcher.
Potential catcher, I mean, they have to use the flash out for Rung as well, trying to reposition him into the backline of the team fight just to get a very effective annihilation, but didn't actually pick up anybody to the side of Wolves.
Yeah, but look at that, right? So they try to go on the Jingyu, and this is what is so irritating playing against a Da Qiao composition, because the Sea of Fate really just changes the name of the game here.
Yeah. Yeah, see if it literally does, right? Like, if you don't take that off the board there, it's going to be a problem, but it's a big problem for Wrong. He does get taken down thanks to the Dharma. It's going to be Pang being hit by that Burning Sun arrow. Can they actually claim anything here? But the Dharma is looking like he's going to be taken down, but the Sage Sanctuary comes through in time right here for Wolves Esports, baiting them in to that blazing brilliance, getting the takedown on Jinue. You cannot fate if you do not have that Sea of Fate.
Yeah, Wolves took a big risk with taking the fight because there were minions crashing down onto the T3s and T2 on the top side as well. But the rewards are well worth it. JD Gaming now, T2 in the mid, under pressure. The map is looking a little bit darker for their side.
Darker for JD Gaming, but a little bit brighter for Wolves Esports nonetheless, right? Obviously putting that pressure into the mid lane, just kind of replicating the damage that was already done to them, but now they get to have a bit of breathing room, right? And they have a bit of bragging rights. They're taking away the Azure Golem, they're taking away the Crimson, but can they secure this one here for themselves, here for the side of JD? And it's looking like they don't.
Yep, they can't. Pang has stolen away the Azure Golem, and this is going to be very hurtful to Jingyu because as a flowborn tank, you need that cooldown reduction, you need your stacks and your skills. By the way, I think they did spot out one there.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be careful. No fear gets ripped apart there with a blazing brilliance once again by Juan. But this is just the beauty of Angela, right? Like if you get caught into the brush, it's gonna be scary. And now they're just kind of taking away JD Gaming from that T2, able to reclaim it for the side of Wolves Esports.
And we are having a lot of expectations for Wrong. This Nua needs to come online. But so far, he's been landing those creation blocks, getting the Resplendence, getting the Emergence and Annihilations as well, but unable to find the kill. That's the biggest difference maker. You can have a lot of damage, but you need to take the lives of Wolves Esports members.
Exactly. When you've got the damage, you need to make sure you are claiming the lives of your enemy team, right? But this is the direct consequences. The fact they're going for both of the shadow objectives, 2 for 2 here for the side of Wolves Esports. But this is a beautiful instant replay, right? The deletion of Jinyu there, it was crazy. There's the damage from this Lady Sun now, so Track really getting into that late game, really putting a little bit of a blunder here for the side of JD Gaming.
Yeah, one is on a completely different level today with his Shenron. The amount of catches he has had with a third hand and the experimentation stunts have been on point. Now, Sakura, if he finds a 5-man truth mantra, that could truly be the end for the side of JD Gaming.
Yeah. They do say the truth hurts, right? And especially if you catch on to 5 men, that's going to be 5 men crying in the corner, unfortunately, because that's going to turn that team fight into your favor. And especially when you don't have any kind of higher ground going on right now. Like, they don't have any lanes pushed. You've got Vanguards approaching at 3 angles.
Yeah, this exchange is all about Wrong and Whisper. They have to get the damage in. The poke damage is so essential.
So essential, but they actually don't get it with the Annihilation there, which is going to be a bit unfortunate. They may lose that T1 down, T3 down to the bot side of the map, which is really going to open up this crystal here for the side of JD Gaming.
Yep. Well, it's not just the pain of losing a T3. They're going to lose their Azure Golem once again. Jingyu is out of options. Wrong as well. Either one of these heroes or players will definitely benefit from having the Azure buff, but no cooldown reduction, no mana regeneration, and this one is definitely in favor of Wolves.
Oh, absolutely. On a flowborn tank, you want that cooldown reduction, right? Like, just having those skills a little bit quicker, getting your flow marks just a little bit faster is really going to kind of like enable you to do either like a double knockup with your second skill or get those double knockups with that ultimate, which could be very detrimental here for the side of JD Gaming to try and get a turnaround onto Wolves Esports, especially Wolves Esports looking at that second game point right now.
Yeah, and it's so scary, right? If you take a look at a perspective, a POV of JD Gaming, they see absolutely nothing. It is completely dark away from the T3s. And this is where, look, Sakura, either he makes this game his little baby boy here and get the 5-man catch of his life, or JD Gaming maybe can mount a comeback here.
They got to try and do something, right? Obviously, just kind of just bait out that Sea of Fate there, just trying to hope that somebody kind of like catches it. Maybe even just get a little bit of intel to see if anybody's in that brush there for the side of JD Gaming. Because right now, like you were saying, kid, they're playing in the dark room. They need a nightlight, and they definitely need a knight in shining armor here. Is that going to be Jinyu into this next team fight?
We will hope so, right? But the problem here is Track. He's at 14,000. He's 3,000 ahead.
Yep, I mean, oh, okay, there it is. Seagon Jang really opened up the side of the team. Wolves Esports here. The Sage of Sanctuary does get burned out here for the side of Sakura as well. But the takedown onto Pang is going to be a little bit scary here. Really going to slow down that kind of pseudo-tank potential here for the side of Wolves Esports.
Yeah, Wolves are lucky in the fact that, hey, the next neutral objective is not going to be up for the next, 30 over seconds, which means they will not lose that neutral objective just yet. At the same time, because they have gotten that T3 at the bottom, this means JD Gaming constantly need to give supervision and surveillance on that bottom side of the map.
Yeah, constantly pushing away that minion wave's really going to be jarring here for the side of JD Gaming, but they have to do it, right? Like, if they want a win condition in this one, they got to make sure they kind of neutralize that pressure that Wolves Esports has currently against them right now. I mean, we're getting to that 17-minute mark, and we're almost going to that same kind of T, right, within the challenge match, where they get to a 20-minute game in that second game within their series, and it's looking like a little bit of the same Sungan dance here. Potential same Sungan dance here with obviously the Tyrant being taken down. Is it going to go for the side of JD Gaming? They are able to get the Tyrant going into a crucial team fight right now, but just keeping away that fate is going to be the CFA coming through with the Island Whirlpool there, bringing back Jinyu into this team fight. That's going to be scary here for Wolves. They came for the Tyrant, but they got nothing.
Beautiful movements from the side of JD Gaming. Will they expose the positioning on the side of Sakura? Will not find him at this point. Now, with this neutral objective going to the side of JD Gaming, they can definitely put a little bit more pain towards the structures on the side of Wolves Esports. Now, will they go for that Primal Bond take on this Shadow Overlord?
I mean, you can see here, though, right? Obviously, we was talking about this in introduction. Obviously, Marksman going for a little bit tankier items. Normally, the Cuirass is Savagery. But we see here the Ominous Premonition, which, again, something like the Dharma, something like the Agudo when they're stuck into the team fight. It's going to really slow down the side of Wolves Esports and allow you to recapture those kills that we've been seeing from JD Gaming, while just been slipping away from them time and time again.
Yes. Now, Track, on the other hand, he's built a Succubus Cloak. He's more concerned about Wrong. But so far, it's the other members on the side of JDG that have been catching him. So he needs to be really concerned here.
Really concerned, but at the same time, this could be a concerning part for the side of Wolves Esports, right? This could be the neutralizing, the tipping point, the yin and yang by taking this T3 into the top side of the map. But Wolves Esports know that. We see a bit of a dive into the back line of the map. We see the flash. We get the Truth Mantra. We get the lockdown at the Wrong. That's going to be a lot of late game damage we take off the board here. But can he come through now with the Ho-Yi's damage? He's trying to put that on, but the Sage of Sanctuary gets burned out here by the side of with Sakura right now. And there it is. Just that basic attack damage come through. That's going to be a 1-1 trade here between JD and Wolves Esports.
Yeah, but this one definitely in benefit to JDG, right? Because take a look at the composition. This is why you draft a double side lane, right? You have Whisper. He's like a pseudo marksman as well. And based on what's happening here, Yi, no one is able to touch him. The moment you use the Truth Mantra and neither Whisper or Yi die, you're going to have a tough time taking fights.
Oh, a huge time taking fights. Like, it's going to be really difficult for you. But like you were saying there, I feel like it has definitely gone into the favor of JD, because not only did they get the pressure and kind of nullify that, it was able to be onto the side of the Tempest Dragon as well, right? Like, can they do this now? Can they take the Tempest? Can they get that second game win?
Yeah, based on stats, it should go into the hands of JD Gaming. They get the nice stun.
Oh, Burning Sun Arrow is really going to put a bit of pressure here onto the side of JD Gaming, but it's going to be that jungle that gets taken down at a crucial point. But can they pick up some more into the backline here? Seekong Genj, Whisper tries to go for the Whisper of Death, but it has get taken down. This is Wolves Esports to play for right now. They don't have any minion waves crashing through into their base. They are playing at advantage into the bot side of the map.
And they have found a chink in that armor, and that is Jingyi, right? Jingyi is meant to be the main tank, and there's no way JDG can fight this unless Wrong comes with the steal of his lifetime here.
Yeah, I mean, they have to come for a steal of a lifetime, right? Look at that. Just shot in the dark. She's going to be the shot in the dark. The Burning Sun Arrow does miss there, unfortunately, but is that going to be enough detail for the Annihilation to come through here? It does come through, but a little bit too early, unlike British Transport.
Yep, I mean, look, this is KPL, right? They know that it's coming, so they wait, they hold it off, wait for the Annihilation before they actually fully commit. Now, there is no Dolia in this composition, though, so there is no second chance. Now, JD Gaming, they have to deal with the deterrence and, in fact, the damage that is the Tempest Vanguard here.
Not only that, the disruption as well, right? Like, if you get to a turret and it's not going to fire at you, you've just got that Vanguard just constantly just laying down that disruption. It's going to be scary for them, right? You are hoping for that second wind of that turret. There's a disruption already come through there. Opening up at that mid lane is going to be Wolves Esports.
Yeah, backdoor protection is so important, which is why the members of JDG are placing this defense right in front of the crystal. They don't want the backdoor protection to be taken down because that is immediately disruption for the side of the Tempest Vanguards.
Yeah, I mean, you can see here, Sakura just looking for a second way in, right? Like, he's got that, the Pure Sky, the Dome, basically the second automation, activation of the Pure Sky here coming through for the side of Wolves Esports. But that is going to be the last little sausage. The higher ground turret being taken off the board here for the side of JD Gaming. Wolves Esports looking to commit here. They do have the Vanguard into the Crystal, but they're looking for a team fight. They're looking to get the Jinyu down. They're looking for the Crystal of game number 2, and Wolves Esports gets it.
Second game in a row. This is a strong performance from the side of Wolves Esports. Momentary shakiness. You could see JDG did manage to find some gaps that Wolves Esports left behind, but still, a win is a win. And Wolves Esports with a 2-0 lead. Are we looking at a potential clean sweep today?
I mean, for the JD Gaming fans, I don't want to say anything, right? I don't want my head on a stick. I just want to see a great series between these two teams because that's what needs to happen, right? Like, you can see here, Wolves are so happy because they know they are 2 points ahead now. We say that game number 1 is important, but if you can get a 2-0, that's going to put your foot through the door a little bit more easier, especially in this lower bracket elimination.
And it also opens up the possibility that you're going to be at series point if you win the next one, which is going to lead Wolves Esports into game number 3, 3-0 leading the series. But for now, we don't talk about the theories, we talk about the facts. And the fact of the matter is 2-0's Wolves lead. JDG, they have some thinking to do here.
They do have a lot of thinking to do. But like you were saying, though, as we was closing out that game, JD Gaming, they had chances to claim back a bit of that shakiness from the side of Wolves Esports. But Wolves Esports played their defenses to a T, able to keep hold of their higher ground turrets, which really stopped any kind of like any takeaway from that shakiness.
It has to be the jungler on the side of JDG, right? I feel like Jinyu, he's been getting these awesome finds, but there is this gap in the synchronization between the execution of the moves, right? So the save, when he comes through from the Da Chao on the side of No Fear, it's looking great. That's how they actually open up the side of Wolves Esports. But the moment Jinyu falls, then, you know, the entire thing starts to crumble because you have no tank. You're now susceptible to all the dives. There's extra lives offered by the side of one on that Genrum pick. So it's a very difficult situation. They needed to be a little bit more cleaner.
Yeah, cleaner. Obviously, the resurrection, we didn't see it as obviously kind of like very impactful as I was really expecting to see within those team fights, but it was because of obviously Juan on the Angela as well as a track on the Lady Sun. They were just running down the side of JD Gaming before they even could actually need the use of that resurrection. But like you were saying, within the game, using that third hand, using that stun onto to get that first blood as well, really kind of showed that the Chen Ren was a really good pick here for the side of Wolves Esports.
Yeah, you know, we get the definition of experimentation that sometimes it doesn't work. But for this one was playing out of his mind here. The amount of times he managed to catch multi-man stuns with the experimentation along with the third hand latch, it was pretty important for the side of Wolves because it allowed Trek, who I believe is on track for a second MVP in this game. Take a look at the itemization, sold the boots. Like you said, Skydome with the Eternity Blade, Master Sword, the Doomsday, and the Daybreaker. Making sure that he has more than one extra life. Sage's Sanctuary as well. Yeah, so a beautiful situation for the side of Wolves Esports here. And this was also benefit for the support given by Juan, right? This 3-man composition, Juan with the tank threat, making sure that Jinyu never really had a good time. And along with Juan as well, the extra lives given. I mean, Blam, this has to be one of the best draft executions we've seen from Wolves today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, both their games have looked really good. Obviously, game number 1 was definitely kind of towards the opposite side of the spectrum in terms of obviously fast plays, very quick execution, whereas this was a slow burner. Even though they got first blood very early, it was still a very slow burning game. And you can tell by these stats as well, right? Like, that's a lot of 100k damage plus coming from the side of Wolves Esports. 120k there from Track. We see 102k there from Pang himself. So really just putting a lot of pressure on and just really surmising this late game victory, because that's where they lost against JD Gaming last time, right? Was those late game matches was where Wolves Esports were faltering, but they look like they perfected their motive.
That's right. So you can see the value that Jingyu provided for this competition, right? So the moment he falls, then there is really no way back into the fight, because unless Whisper as well as Yi, the corresponding Clash and farm laner, make their waves and get those finishing blows onto the Wolves Esports permanently, it's not going to find value. And this is where I feel like the draft is so smart from the side of Wolves Esports.
Very smart from Wolves Esports, right? Like, I mean, we look obviously the breakdown of JD Gaming. Yes, they had the kind of like the brick house, the Flowborn tank, right? Like, he's there meant to be kind of soaking a lot of damage, getting a lot of those skills off the side of Wolves Esports, especially with that kind of get out of jail card, the Sea of Fate with the either Whirlpool from No Fear, who's on the screen right now. They really tried their best with this synergy, but Wolves Esports knew exactly how to play around it. And speaking of playing around with Sakura, right? Like, that top side truth mantra, the flash in, was such a great chef's kiss here for Sakura.
Yep, that was the one moment that really set the entire fight in stone, and for the rest of the game as well, because that was the one fight where we saw value where, okay, Whisper and Yi, they were doing good damage and whatsoever, but then the important crux of the matter was that they lost Jingyu in the fight immediately after that.
Oh yeah, like they did lose the team fight after that. It was just kind of like a very scary, very hairy situation to be in, right? But I mean, it shows here, not every MVP has to be about the high kills. It's all about how you assist your teammates, how you are impactful in those team fights.
Yes, and it's all started with this first blood coming in, making life so much more difficult for Yi here. Even with the committal of the Flash, she still could not survive the onslaught. That was a 3-man strong rotation coming in from the side of Wolves Esports.
Oh yeah, Wolves Esports definitely kind of, not a teardown. I don't want to kind of be disrespectful here for JD Gaming, but they definitely kind of played to their strengths, right? Like, they knew on the pickoffs, they knew that Wrong was going to be a menace on this Nua, so they had to kind of curb him down, right? They had to curb stomp him, make sure the Nua was getting taken out in these early part of these team fights, so they weren't going to have to be faltering to that annihilation from downtown, or even an emergence on top of your head.
Yes, which was why I think, you know, Wrong was providing a lot of value in the earlier parts of the fight. That was also one of the reasons why they were able to get the wave clear, a lot of damage down onto the members on the side of Wolves Esports. And then later on, this caused them to really group up because they're hoping for the Sea of Fate save, and this is where the true value of Sakura really came.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, that's where Shakira came through, where he popped up, and that's why he got MVP in Game 2 here for Wolves Esports. So, for those new joining in right now onto the broadcast, Wolves Esports are up 2 points right now, but this is a best of 7. They could potentially go for a 4-0 like we saw yesterday, right? But this still means that it's life on the line. Tournament life on the line here for JD Gaming. They need to bounce back.
It is. It's going to be a very stressful situation. Now, bear in mind that this is the lower brackets of the knockout stage for our 2025 KPL Grand Finals. Meaning, if you lose the series, you will be going home. Now, this is potentially looking like a lifeline for the side of Wolves Esports here, leading the series 2-0. But we have also seen teams falter because, you know, the opponent team has finally found that little misstep or that little chink in the armor. They fix that problem and they go on strong 4 games in a row. So that could be a possibility for the side of JD Gaming. But let's take a look at how this composition is going to go, because as the game goes, we are now 3rd game in. This is going to be the 3rd one. This means at least 10 heroes will be permabanned from the pool.
Permaban from the pool. I mean, we'll probably still see the ban on the Konger as well, right? Like, if you are Wolves Esports, are you really going to allow that to come through on the potential 3rd game, which could then just like lead you into that match point of next match if you win game number 3? But you just thought, you know what? Let's give them Konger. Let's see what they can do, and then they take the victory from you, and that's really going to extend and really get into the mental state of these players as well, right? Like, this is not a sprint; it is a marathon, and JD Gaming know that, right? Like, they are just looking for a way in. They're looking for the chink in their armor.
Yes, and one of the big problems, or one of the biggest counters we have seen teams use against the Conqueror is actually the Hano. So actually there is a potential for them to let it out, but this is on the basis that, hey, maybe we consider the Hano as a mid lane pick for the side of the Wolves Esports lineup. But with that being said, there's still a lot of combinations available. You have already seen a couple of them, right? We still have the Yang Qiandolia combination available. We still have the Tunshan with Aaron available for both teams. And there is also the potential of the Suliet, which is just viable with any composition here.
Yeah, I mean, we could even go for something like maybe like the Doom-Dolia combo as well, right? Like if the side of JD Gaming decide to go for something like a fast-paced jungle in the for themselves, maybe try and go for the pay for themselves, right? Like try and get the victory with pay would definitely be a bit of salt in the face for Pang here. But going for that Doom-Dolio really kind of just like matches that tempo in the early game and really tries to blunder the pay.
Yes, and we definitely want to take a look at the very scary picks coming out from both teams. Now, one of the more apparent heroes that has been played to a absolutely different level has been the Chicha pick, right? And this is a very flexible pick. It can go into the farm lane, can go into the jungle, can go into the clash. Most of the teams have used it in the clash lane so far with varying levels of success.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been put more up into the clash lane because, I mean, the way that you play that pick is obviously you get the stacks before you go into the team fight, but then it's also getting, obviously, the catch onto with the ultimate and then just laying down that melting damage, right? Like, just when I first saw this hero getting picked within KPL and saw that damage come through so fast, I was just like, that's crazy.
Yeah, but it requires a lot of farm. So Chicha is not exactly a very early game hero, which does not kind of fit into the Wolves Esports style of playing. You know, they feel like a more early game centric kind of team. So let's see whether there's going to be a potential for the side of JDG, because JDG obviously are trying to play for the late game. They have managed to pull Wolves Esports into Tempest Dragon game for this game number 2, but it did not work out still.
Did not work out still, but I mean, like you were saying there, we are seeing a little bit of two different play styles, right? JD Gaming looking to go for the late game like they were successful with it in the Challenge Series matches, but then this time around, Wolves was like, we've got your number, buddy. Like, we've put a lot of pressure on into the early part of the game, which meant that that late game wasn't going to go in the favor of JD Gaming, even though they had a sliver of hope.
Yes, and the junglers coming in from the side, jungler picks on the side of Wolves Esports have been pretty early game centric, right? We've seen the Agudo, we've seen the Pei. These are very scary early game centric junglers that really can just ramp off of a first blood, or even just having a advantage in the laning financial lead.
Exactly that, right? Like, you just being able to, especially when you are the captain, Pang, right? Like, you want to make sure you are determining the tempo, especially if you are such a capable player like Pang, right? Like, you don't really want to be giving over that control to somebody else if you know you can do it yourself. And that's why I feel like that's kind of like the reason why we've had both the Pei and the Agudo so far within these two drafts.
Yeah, so once again, welcome back into Changsha. This is where the venue is at. We're looking at the captains here, No Fear as well as Pang, leading their teams respectively. JDG for the side of No Fear and Wolves Esports for the side of Pang. Game number 3. This one might really shake things up if Wolves Esports find success again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they go for game 3 back-to-back here, it's definitely showing, like, it's already painting a better picture, especially Wolves Esports, in a better light within the KPL Grand Finals knockouts, right? Like, they need to make sure that they're getting every little bit of success that they can, because last time when they played against Dragon Ranger, they lost 4-2, right? So, yes, they lost game number 1, they won game number 2, but then lost 2 back-to-back. And when you lose 2 games back-to-back, it's such a big mountain to get back onto board, right? Like, you are riding the wave and the momentum here if you are Wolves Esports. And if you lose 2 games, that wave becomes a puddle. And it's hard to get and kind of try and get that wave back on board.
I mean, that is why people tell you not to swim in the ocean, because you don't know where the current might lead you, right? So we'll see, because the current seems to be in flow, in sync for the side of Wolves Esports. But once again, this is influenced by many external factors, and we're going to be taking a look at the coaches' minds, because they are the ones responsible for giving them the advantage.
Exactly. They are the masterminds. They are the players in this 4D chess match, right? Like, the players are definitely going to be there to execute whatever kind of commands that their coaches go for, right? Like, they're going to have a little bit of an input, but they ultimately are looking to cement their core first, which is, so far, the core gameplay we've been seeing is a lot kind of like focused around both Pang as well as Track.
Yes, I think in any MOBA, you definitely want to have your jungler and your farm laner find success, right? In farm, in EXP, and even kills. Now this is something that I think they have been consistently able to achieve on the side of Wolves Esports. Track has been pretty much protected in game number 1 and game number 2, and I feel like this pattern will not stop showing itself for game number 3 as well.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely got to see what they can do in terms of trying to like falter the momentum here of Wolves going into this BP of game number 3, right? Like, they need to do something. You're seeing a lot of JD Gaming fans in the audience. They're not looking too happy right now. They want to get a win on the board. We've seen some signs there saying 4-3 to JD Gaming. Maybe that's the hoping we need here. Maybe that's the kind of spirit that the team need to continue within this best of 7, because if they don't get a single point onto the board here, it's going to be a hard exit for JD Gaming.
Well, it is definitely going to be hard, but the hope is still there, the chance is still there. Like, let's start with the Clash lane options here. Look, there's many options available for the side of JD Gaming. There is still the Majin, there is still the Byron as well, all big picks. And Wolves Esports, straight away, they place a lot of respect onto Novia. Once again, the Kong is going to be taken out. The Ogren, though, interesting, taken out by JD Gaming.
Yeah, maybe trying to go for, it's like, you know what? We've seen 2 very early game centric heroes. Maybe they're going to go for a little bit more of a late game raid boss, which is going to be that Organ, right? Like, they're trying to catch out JD Gaming's kind of 4D chess, but there's the Jingen taken out as well as the Haiyue.
Yeah, because they have opened up Master Lupan. So Wolves Esports right now, they know and they are willingly giving away the Master Lupan and Lupan number 7 combination away. Jing would have been a great answer, but there's still other answers available, and Yang Jian is one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like forcing the hand, right? They're like, hey, do you want to really go for the Luban and Luban Master and give us the Dolia and Yang Jian combo, which has been great? Yeah, I mean, look right now, 100% win rate. Come on, like, it has to be taken off here in terms of a 4D matchup of chess right now, but it looks like they're going to stick with it. They're going to go for that duo down to the bot side of the map, the Luban Master and Luban number 7.
Yep, and it's not just a 100% win rate, it's a 5-game 100% win rate for this jungler pick on the Yang Jian for the side of Pang. And here's the scary part, you can actually flex this Yang Jian into the Clash still, so there's options for Wolves Esports to explore here.
There is very much options for them to explore, right? I mean, it's definitely going to be more solidified here with these next 2 picks. I mean, there we go. It's pretty much going to be all she wrote, right? Like, that's definitely going to be their jungle pick, especially with the Dolia. And now we get in the Cap Boom as well. Obviously, Cap Boom as a hero. Early game, we're looking at that burst. Late game, you're looking at that poke potential, right?
Yes, and for Wolves Esports, this has been a potential that has netted them a 100% win rate. Right now, I think they need to secure their Clash laner on the side of JD Gaming, right? Because it looks like there is a potential of a Guan Yu coming in for the side of Wolves Esports, but they want to secure the tank jungle first to match up against the tankiness and the damage and poke damage that is the Kapu.
Yeah, I mean, the Kaiser's definitely been one of those big picks, right? A little bit different to obviously what we have on Global. Obviously, you can launch over the wall, kind of like the Dion way, right? So it makes kind of navigating the Gorge a little bit faster here for JD Gaming, which is something that we've not really been seeing here from Jinue, right? Like, he's at Orgren, he's at Flowborn. Orgren, arguably, a little bit more faster with the rotations.
Okay, interesting. Wolves do not pick up the Guan Yu, they actually ban it out instead. So there has to be a different kind of catch for the Clash laner. At the same time, the farm lane has been kind of dwindled down for the side of Wolves Esports. Track now does not have access to DRNC, a perfect answer for the Lupan combination, but Consort Yi also taken out.
Interesting, as well as the Lung as well, right? Obviously, Lung there, just kind of like late game, able to get the pickoffs here for the side of Wolves Esports if they're able to lock it in, especially with the Lung and Dolia combo, right? Double infinite vastness means it's going to be a great way to access the enemy team.
Okay, JD Gaming, I like this playstyle. This is going to be very high burst potential, so you have one in the Luban number 7, but also the Changer in this mid. Very good at close range burst, especially with ultimate, very short cooldowns as well. I'm curious what the answer is going to be for the Clash lane, because it needs to be someone that gets the catch in, right? You already have the Dharma, there's no Guan Yu, so I'm expecting maybe a Majin or maybe a Charlotte to just dive into the backlines.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to be something like the Charlotte, right? But I mean, it looks like they're going to lock in the potential of the Fatih here as well, right? So that's definitely a backline catch-up. If you can get this hero online very early, the attack speed's so crazy.
Okay, so what's the answer for the Clash lane here? You're playing against a Fatih, very good sustain in the lane, especially when he hits level 4. Oh, Foods, I like this late game tank to be able to deal the late game soldier as well. I think this is a pretty even lineup here.
A very even lineup. I mean, it definitely comes down to more risk of execution here for the side of JD Gaming, right? Like, if they don't get the right catch here with the likes of the Futsu, like maybe trying to lock down the Shoyue, maybe try and go for something like Cap Boom, right? Like, get a lot of that damage off of the board here for Wolves Esports. If that doesn't go as well to plan here for JD Gaming, it's going to be at the behest of potentially this game, a 3 victory going over to Wolves Esports.
I think the 2 lanes I'll be looking at is probably the mid or the clash, because these will be the difference makers, right? The faster rotation definitely will make it make a situation much better. We'll take a look. The 4-minute mark. This is going to be a very scary battle because Wolves Esports have a lot more poke from range in comparison to JDG.
They do have a lot of poke here for Wolves Esports. Obviously, you're going to try and want to contest the Shoyue, right? Like, you're not going to allow him just to kind of have like a free lane, because that's really going to kind of mess up the flow of JD Gaming going into the late game, right? Because obviously the Shoyue is one of those heroes that you need to get some itemization onto the board first before he starts to do a lot of damage.
Yes, but that is where the value of the Cat Boom is going to be shown, right? Get the fast kill in the mid, rotate down into the farm lane, you get the kitty bombs thrown down, and then you have the wild winds coming in from the Shoyue. So a lot of long range hold. But of course, you need to be accurate, of which I think they will be on the side of Wolves.
You gotta hope so, right? You gotta hope that they're gonna be accurate. It's like, you know what? We've taken a sniper. We're just gonna go blind shots. We're gonna just hope for the best here. But those wild rounds are definitely gonna be wanting to be hitting onto the more squishier heroes. They're a bit of the front line as well, right? Like, if you can chip down the front line of the side of JD Gaming before going into a huge team fight, it's already gonna put you at a better stretch here. Because if you look at sustainability onto the side of JD Gaming, it's not the greatest.
No, which means I think, you know what, on the side of JDG, this has to be a macro gameplay, right? You need to get those T1s down as soon as you can, because the true value of the side of JDG is the fact that if you actually get the chance, you have absolutely insane burst damage potential, right? The Chang'e is going to burst you down, the Luban number 7 is going to burst you down. All you need is to catch your competitor off guard, which means play the vision game.
Play the Beijing game. But the thing is here, obviously, for those new joining in, Luban number 7 is always kind of like seen as a low mobility hero, right? Like, yes, he has great base damage, a lot of damage for his kit as well. But the one thing he's always lacked is mobility, so that's why we're seeing him here paired with the Luban Master. He's able to pull him away, zip him away, out of safety, well, out of danger and into safety. So it's going to be interesting to see how the side of JD Gaming are going to play this one. Can they play it to a T, or will Wolves Esports be able to dismantle them?
Yeah, at this point, it's really, they're using their farm laner Yi as the bait together with the roam, right? And with that being said, we'll take a look at the fans once again. JDG need all the help they can get from the audience. So we'll wait for their cheers coming in now. Alright, right off the bat, trying to balance out that wave clear from the side of Juan on that Cat Boom, and you can see they're going to be leaving them alone. Potential first blood here, maybe?
Leaving them alone. I don't think that's going to be the course of action here for the side of Wolves Esports. Oh, Cat Boom straight in, gets the pick up here. Juan, once again, just putting his name on that mid lane.
And the true damage here is the fact that they might lose the Crimson Golem here. Doesn't matter who it goes to, it's lost.
It is lost. They did go over to Cat Boom here, but can they redeem it back? I mean, JD Gaming are looking to try and get some kills here, but it's going to be another takedown here. But Futsu maybe trying to get a takedown onto Juan. He's able to get that, but that's 2 for 1 right now. And we are looking at a Whisper that's worse for wear.
Okay, so Whisper does kind of save the buff away, right? It did not go into the hands of Jingyi. And I feel like Jingyi is finding so much difficulty today. Wolves is just making his life so difficult to play.
Oh, absolutely. Like, if there's one player I'm feeling super duper sorry for so far, it's definitely Jinyu on the side of JD Gaming. Like, he's just always been caught in the muddle, always in the mix of things, especially when Wolves Esports are just kind of involved, trying to get enough kills, trying to just take away his resources as well.
And right now, the only thing is, okay, how does Rong catch up in this mid lane matchup, right? Because Juan is definitely going to have a lot of wave clear, and it looks like numbers advantage is the answer for now.
potentially, right, it's having that buddy system, right? Maybe try and just have Luban Master up to into the mid lane a little bit more frequently. Just try to allow just Luban to kind of just have his own way with the Shoyu, because obviously damage-wise in the early game, obviously Luban's going to be able to do and match those numbers.
Yeah, we'll see the growth of Yi, right? He is definitely one of the important win conditions, and he's keeping on track with Track as well. In fact, he has a slight EXP lead.
Slight XP lead, and he has the gold advantage as well, right? Like, regardless of the first blood going over to Wolves Esports.
Yep, Malwin's here going to be stealing away that camp, as well as the side of Sakura. So this was what happened in the initial first blood here. A little spicy. This is why Cat Boom is banned most of the time. Look at the mobility and the damage. Straight from the get-go, level 2.
Yeah, I mean, even with obviously the damage reduction into the enemy jungle, right, like you're still able to get the takedown onto such a beefy pick like the Kaiser. But I mean, Kaiser, you have to be level 4 before you can try and get that kind of sustainability for yourself.
Yeah, you definitely need the Invincible Warrior, right? So Jingyu now, great job in, trying to even out the odds. He does have a EXP deficit. The gold difference isn't that big of a gap, all right? Just 300, 200 gold that sets them apart right now in the jungle.
Yeah, it's not much. It's barely like a split of hair, right? Like they could easily get that back for the side of JD Gaming. Obviously, that downtime that they had earlier on is definitely going to be the blunder that was the reason why we see the lead here going for Pang over to the side of Jinue.
Okay, we'll see how the growth is going to be like, because even though they didn't have the best start, JDG actually have managed to even out the resources, now trading just by 500,000. Now this rotation by Pang, I don't think it will net them a kill, but this is going to help them and aid them with the rotation, because 4 minutes is coming up really soon.
It is coming up really soon. We're seeing a little bit of the leeway into the bot side of the map going over to the favor of Wolves Esports. Luban Masters kind of just shove out and start the Tyrant right now, but that's going to be 2 ultimates being expanded there for the side of JD Gaming before they even get into the Tyrant fight.
Okay, they will not contest this. They actually make a beeline straight for the Overlord. Beautiful trade. At the same time, you can see Whisper working on to the Spiketail Beast camp. Now, this is going to help them alleviate the gap and the stress provided by this Tyrant take. And we'll see how does Wolves Esports respond to this.
Yeah, I mean, definitely trying to gain like a little bit of a resemblance of a gold lead is definitely going to hinder the effect of the Tyrant, right? But I mean, we're going to be seeing here JD Gaming probably not going to want to take any team fights, especially when they don't. Their enemy team has the Tyrant and they do not.
Yeah. In fact, right now, I think Wolves are ready to fight. Axe of Torment already in the hands of Pang, already has the armor shred. And you can see, Jingyu trying to go for the full tank, has half build on the Silence Robe as well as the Protector Cuirass. So he's able to tank a little bit, but it might not be enough here.
It might not be enough. I mean, especially with likes of Shoyu having the Eternity Blade as well, right? Like, that's going to be a lot of crit early on. That's quite an expensive item to first build here, but it's definitely what you want if you are Shoyu to get your damage online a little bit earlier. But they do trade the T1s from side to side here, something we've just been seeing time and time again within the KPL matches.
Yeah, we'll see how this is going to go. T2, quite a lot of damage has been laid down. This is one of the benefits that you have with the Luban number 7 and Master Luban combination, which is exactly what they need to do here, because macro is super important. That allows you to buy time for the later parts of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing where we saw, like, JD Gaming naturally sort of, like, suffer early on, but there it is. It's going to be the Corporal Punishment being placed down here for the side of JD Gaming. They're trying to do a lot of damage onto the bot there. I mean, it's going to be all to the help of that second skill of the Futsu as well, right? But, I mean, the takedown here could potentially go right on to the Yang Jian. Pang goes down there, so we do see a kill going over to Yi so far for now. So that is going to be a 1-0 trade for JD Gaming, already looking healthier within this series so far.
I love the answer from the side of JD Gaming, right? So look, we just put more numbers, get the kill onto your jungler. At the same time, Track has not hit the financial mark yet, so he's not going to be the wave clear monster that Wolves are hoping for him to be. But right away, Sakura recognizes this fact, makes a beeline with the TP down, and now places a little bit of pressure on the bot T1.
That's what they're going to do, right? They're going to try and macro the macro, but at the same time, we are seeing the party into the backline here. We see Sakura trying to get the kill onto Luban Master, but it's going to be the kill going over to Juan once more. The Wolverine does miss out. Jinue just ever so slightly.
Yep, if he had fallen there, this would have been a horrible situation. But the trade-off is JD Gaming have to give away this T1 in the mid. Now, this is going to be valuable information for the side of Wolves Esports. They're lucky. It has not fallen, but it's just one single hit away. And they might be losing their their Azure buff, which Jingyi immediately tries to make a trade for.
Yeah, this is another great thing, obviously, what you see within the KPL. And I mean, we're starting to slowly adapt this within Global as well, right? But at the same time, it's curtailed that little detail right now. They're looking to try and save their Azure Golem, but it does get traded over, right? So JD Gaming, they knew what was going on. They knew the beef, and they were able to get their own Azure Golem from the side of Wolves Esports. But once again, we are seeing the Radiance being put here down to the bot side of the map, into this match, into this fight, as we're seeing a lot of health bars being won down here by the side of Wolves Esports, but no kills being picked up. Is a saving grace here.
Yeah, I mean, for the side of Wolves Esports, not the biggest concern for them because they're making the trades. They still have the T1 in the mid standing, and JD Gaming, they have only traded T1 at the top. So at this point, Wolves Esports, they don't have the biggest lead, it's just about 1,000. But take a look at the farm on the side of track. He is well on his way to that Daybreaker that he desperately needs.
But speaking of which, obviously, we are seeing a little bit of shred damage coming through here. Who can attack faster is going to be who claims that kill, but that ultimate almost finished off Sakura. But now we're going to see the cap boom once again, but again, the pick off is going to be Track.
Yep, this is beautiful value, and this is why you need the Master Lupin, because look at how vulnerable he is. Now, JD Gaming, they're going to try for something else. Whisper here looking for the split push, as well as taking a little bit of resources away from the jungle camps here, as the Leopards will be taken away.
Leopard's being taken away, but I mean, it's going to be those kind of macro plays that are really going to keep the side of JD Gaming breathing, right? Like, they definitely need that room to breathe, and you see it here. Whisper is being that breath of fresh air. Like, he's just trying to put pressure into the top side of the map. Wherever Wolves are, he's going to be at the opposite side.
Yep, so this is very nice damage mitigation coming in from the side of the Clash Linear, right? So with that, Sakura buys some time, survives, dodges the Shark Cannon, and this is where, when you don't have the Master Lupin, you know Lupin number 7 is just fresh food, fresh meat for you to take.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you've not got that tether, you basically are a free meal here for the side of Wolves Esports. But almost got the takedown there onto Sakura, but at the same time, we are seeing again that tether coming into play here, saving Wrong's life this time.
Yeah, now this is a lifeline that they need on this side of JD Gaming because they need that late game, right? So far, we're almost halfway there, 45 seconds away from the Shadow variants, and JD Gaming, that could be the big turnaround they're looking for.
It could be, right? It could be the team fight territory that they are really looking for here right now. But I mean, you can kind of see here, I mean, this is one of the things I love to watch as well, is the heart rates, man. Like, Sakura has been so much into the thick of it within this match so far. He's got the highest heart rate. He's like, guys, I need something. I need some thrill in my life. And he's definitely giving it to himself, right? Like, he's almost died like twice, but still unscathed.
Oh, I mean, you definitely have to feel the pressure, right? If you're not feeling the pressure, something is wrong. But right now, at this point, Wolves Esports still maintaining that 1,000 goal lead against the side of JD Gaming. This 10-minute mark is definitely going to be decisive here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, now we are getting to that decisive moment, right? Like, this is the point where this game has literally just come 50-50. Like, this could be heads or tails, whoever comes out on top of this one, right? But we do have pressure into the top side of the map already being created there for Wolves Esports as they look to try and take the Tyrant or contest it here as well. Sakura trying to put backfire over the wall of the Tyrant. They're doing a lot of damage here onto Jinyue.
Yeah, look, this is what we're talking about, the poke damage. Even before the actual fight starts, JD Gaming already suffering quite a lot of damage. Jingyi is so low on health, he can't really do this. And with the Azure Golem stolen away as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping he had Smite or something. Like, I mean, he has to keep his Smite for this Tyrant, but there it is. Yang Jian with the re-engage there. Gets a takedown onto Whisper. They get the Tyrant. They're looking for more.
Yeah, how are you supposed to play against it? There is no destructive centric play coming up from the side of JD Gaming. They're just getting outpoked even before the fight starts.
Yeah, that's a problem, right? If you're getting outpoked before the fight even starts, you're already starting at a really bad position in here. I mean, you can see that Juan is just being a side aggressor. He's using that poke into the late game just to kind of chip away the damage. And then if he doesn't get the job done, Track's trying to lay a smack down. He gets Wrong.
Yeah, there's a big kill here. Now, this is going to open up the doors for the T3s as well. JD Gaming suffering quite a bit. A lot of poke damage once again. And Track is well on his way. I don't think he has fallen a single time in this game. Another Hellhound available. This could be the big fight.
A problem. Yeah, that is a huge problem, right? Like, the fact that Shoryue has not fallen once in an 11-minute game is something that you are doing either incorrect or Wolves is doing absolutely something superbly.
I think it's more perfection from the side of Wolves Esports. Opening up.
Opening up is going to be the team fight, and it may be the potential T3 here for the side of Wolves Esports, but to just drive them away is going to be Jinyue.
He can't do anything, man, at this point, and it's not his fault. The gap is too big. It's about 6,000 gold ahead for the side of Wolves Esports now, and with the take on that Shadow Tyrant, they have acquired for themselves 3,500 gold.
They're just stacking up the Monopoly, man. They're not here to play some short-change game. They want the money in the bag, and Wolves Esports currently up 2-0 for those watching at home are looking to try and get that third game onto the board, right? But at the same time, we know that JD Gaming are going to try everything to keep onto this game 3-point here.
We need to explore, right? So what do they need to do? Because at this point, the only sustainable lockdown they have comes from Whisper's, Sage's mic, or even maybe Wrong's skills, where maybe they get like that 1.5 second catch. But for now, it's not looking good.
It's not looking good so far, right? I mean, a lot of damage already been put onto the back line there, out to the front line, sorry, of Luban Master. He's already trying to get out there, but also, same time, Rang is taking too much damage for my liking, right? Obviously, there the King Cut trying to go in here. Obviously, Securage always into the fight. Like, as soon as he sniffs blood, he's just trying to get that kill for himself or for his team.
Yeah, and the problem is they just might.
They just might, exactly, there it is. It's going to be the corporal punishment as well. Sages might come through also to come through here for Whisper, but he's trying to get out, but it's going to be the Young Xian getting the kill once again there. Luba Master goes down as well. The Invincible Warrior not looking too invincible as he goes down. They're looking for the second team ace this time around. Wolves Esports with game number 3.
Beautiful performance from the side of Wolves Esports. This is the kind of legacy we wanted them to live with. And now they will be progressing 3-0 against JD Gaming.
Yeah, 3-0. Match point potentially here coming through next time with Wolves Esports. They are looking dominant. They are looking fierce, kid.
Yeah, they are definitely looking very fierce, right? At this point, it raises a lot of things about how this composition was supposed to work, right? Where did you want to find the angle of entry for the side of JD Gaming, right? Who was supposed to have the lead? And from where do you find the gaps on the side of Wolves Esports?
I mean, for JD Gaming, you're really relying on something like the Kaiser to kind of get straight into the nitty-gritty part of the team fight, but the fact that he faltered the first blood, Junior, it was just kind of always, from the word go, kind of like just a shaky cart, right? Like he was always just kind of like, right, okay, I've already been kind of harassed in my own jungle. That's scary, especially at level 1, level 2 as well. So he already kind of was playing a little bit more scarce from that point.
And it's kind of scary because at this point, yes, you may expect the invasion coming in from the Yang Jian on the side of Pang, because he is known to be very aggressive in the jungle, but you don't expect 2 other members on the side of Wolves Esports to jump in as well. Now, they did get a decent trade out of it for the side of JDG, but the fact that, number 1, the buff goes into the hands of the wrong player per se at the start of the game, that really hurt the Kaiser's game for Jingyu.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, from the word go, it became a bit of an issue, but maybe that's because Wolves Esports knew exactly what their game plan was going to be, right? Like, if they were able to kind of give Kaiser a bit of a free game where he's literally not contested into the jungle, it means that he's able to get that itemization, maybe trying to match the gold lead here or even excel Pang in the jungle, but he just didn't have the chance because of that level 2 invade.
Which leads you to kind of take a look at the trickle-down effect, right? So now you are forced to protect Jingyu in the jungle. And what does that mean? It means you place less focus onto Yi, your farm lane for Lupan number 7. And we saw the damage that did, right? The moment your Master Lupan leaves Lupan number 7 alone, he's going to be taken down. That initial follow-up kill onto Yi also came because No Fear was forced to rotate with his jungler instead of following his farm laner.
Yeah, I mean, we always kind of like propped up the Luban number 7 and Luban Master combo as kind of like this kind of like very scary, hairy combo that kind of just is able to do a lot of kind of like burst, shred damage, especially onto tanks. But then, like you were saying, like if you take the Master away from number 7, it's kind of just like, it's a hard matchup there.
Yes, and you know, a lot of things went in the right direction for the side of Wolves Esports, which caused the difficulties for JD Game to be that much more apparent, right? With number 1, the first blood going into the hands of Juan. Take a look at this guy, 517, 9,000 gold ahead. Well, I'm pretty sure the MVP is a wrestle between Trek, Pang, as well as Juan. I would think that Juan really provided so much value as the Cat Boom today.
Oh, a lot of value, a lot of pressure. But like you were saying, it is a toss-up between those three, right? Like, they definitely need to kind of like maybe do rock, paper, scissors in the back pretty quickly to decide that one. Because, I mean, Pang is able to keep his 100% win rate as well on the Yang Jian, right? So that's now 6 matches under his belt with this Yang Jian into the jungle. He is still sitting at 100% win rate. This is a hero you want to be taken away from him, not giving him.
Which is crazy, right? There's like at least 18 teams in every season of KPL, and to have a win rate of now 6 games coming into the later parts of this tournament with a 100% win rate, that is pretty hard to achieve. But it is the man, the myth himself, it's Pang. So we'll see whether he's going to be able to take away that MVP from Track, who has been on a tear so far.
Oh, absolutely been on the tear. I mean, he was like MVP game number 1, and then we obviously had Sakura in game number 2 as well. So this is the good thing about Wolves Esports as well, right? They're not just kind of solely solely dependent on the likes of Pang here to carry them, or even Juan into the mid lane. They are a multifaceted team, right? They're really showing it here against JD Gaming, especially coming back from a revenge tour, because JD Gaming 3-1 them in the challenge series. But now we're looking at Wolves Esports, man. They're 3-0. They're at match point.
Yes, and this is truly the tipping point, because while it is a 3-0 lead, there is a potential this series could still fall sideways for either team. Yep. I mean, we have seen the insane comebacks of a 4-3 series win. Right now, JDG is going to try and achieve that, but Wolves Esports, they want another clean day. They want to move forward in this competition.
Exactly. I mean, they definitely need to kind of pull out the stops, right? They need to make sure that this next game is going to be what gets them and keeps them onto the board. Or is it going to be Wolves Esports just with a dominant 4-0? I mean, they can only hope here, especially, I mean, me, first time casting on the KPL English broadcast. I want to see more blood. I just want to see an ultimate battle come through here for both of these teams. But right now, Wolves are denying me that, even though they are my home team in terms of football. But honestly, they're playing very well today.
Actually, I would argue that they're giving you exactly what you want, because they have put up a clinic at this point. 3-0, this is surgical so far from the side of Wolves Esports. Not the kind of surgery you were looking for, but you know, at this point, we'll see. Maybe JD Gaming comes back and makes the monstrous finish. But here we go. This is the MVP, Sakura in the clash lane, the Fatih, the silent winner for the side of Wolves Esports.
There we go. I mean, we said it was a toss-up between 3. He puts his hat into the race. He's like, boys, consider me. I was thirsty for blood. I didn't die a single time. Coach tagged me in. And I mean, honestly, his performance here on the Fatih was being fantastic, right? Like, he didn't die a single time. He was able to be kind of like a driving force. The way that Kaiser was meant to be emulated onto the side of JD Gaming, we see here Sakura doing it for Wolves Esports.
Yep, he made the dice push the members on the side of JDG away, but the most impressive, I think everyone, if you ask them for that one moment, which we all remember, it has to be that middle part of the game where he was actually, look, the way he engages, gets the damage in, while he allows the rest of the team to finish it. He forces the mistakes out, especially this one, where he forced the life of E out of his hands with all the violent intent.
Yeah, like literally, that's the one thing I love about this hero party, right? Like, he's just so aggressive with the attack damage. He has the life steal as well. It's just hard. Once he's on top of you in a 1v1 situation, not many heroes can come out on top of that, but he was just used multifaceted, right? Like, he was there to do the damage, and then we saw the damage and the kill being secured here by other members of the side of Wolves Esports.
Yep, the fact that he knew when to flash, to just flash away from the blowfish grenade and to deal with the passive of the Gatling guns, super smart. He knew exactly. He was in E's head the entire time.
Yeah, it was in his head the entire time, right? Like, the fact is that we saw Track not be taken down once he was just having the time of his life with the distance, with that snipe into the base as well, right? Like, that was a wild round into a shot into a dark room and still got a snipe. I mean, that was beautiful here, but we're here bigging up Sakura, claiming that team ace there. I mean, you can kind of see JD Gaming not quite having a happy time here, but Pang, he's like, you know what? I'm smiling, bro. I'm happy.
Yeah, so let's hear what the comms were like.
来包大了吗？要包的话，包大了，包大了，再包再包，杀了，包大了，包大了，包大了，你撑住，你撑住，能杀吗？再包再包，他必死，他必死，你先走，我能杀，我能杀，OK，别换，杀他，我走了，就杀嘴炮，不要死，不要死，不要。 我没大了，注意，
我端下线了。
突然下面来来来，
哎，他没烫我，
我这边有救赎，来，可以打，他们很难。
吃个捆，要吃个捆。
哎，追看，有。
来，
可以点，
来，
老不动，
死一个。
算了，慢打，
可以往前打。
来，go，注意来，慢打。
这个大师，
曹丽是不是有砍？截线，
没有，
回家了，中飞截线。过来，等我跳。
肥龙打一波，
我残了。
等我跳，等肥龙。滚来，可以打回去，反正我能打。小路，来我救赎。
别急，我爆根有点。
我能顶前排，你们顶小路。打我死了，前面要死了，老夫子。低小路。
小路能上吗？
有大杨戬，马上打好。
OK，
好了。
大师。
小路能摸到吗？撞了，一波了。
死了。
Nice。可以。我这个斗啊，怎么这么穷啊？
我这是把首页肥。
我一切靠我4号位。
没事。
我再补3。
首页是马华。
And that's what we could hear from the players, right? I mean, I've got 229 days on Duolingo. Not too sure what's going on there, but the vibe was immaculate, right? Like, it was the calm before the storm. But maybe the reverse, right? We saw towards the end, it was like, you know what, guys? Good job. We got the crystal.
Okay, so we are operating as a team for sure. So let me back you up here as your support. Now, the comms were really clear, right? So they were actually requesting that Sakura hold on in that 1v1 against the Luba number 7, right? For the side of Yi. And they knew that once they had him in that particular position, it was a necessary kill. They called it Bisa, which means you have to finish the job. And the comms coming in, the moment they actually push Jingyu down as the Kaiser, they were ready for the next portion of the fight. And what really impresses me during the comms is that the entire team is aligned, but they're looking at the same target over and over again. So they will switch their comms about, okay, number 1, the Fuji is a little bit low. We'll take our eyes on Whisper. Can you finish the job? Pang. Once he's done with that, they're looking for the next available target. Who else do we go for? And yes, at the end of the game, it was pretty much calm and composed. Not as crazy as I thought it would be, but you know, taking a lead 3-0, I would presume you are already in control.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if a 3-0 scoreboard doesn't have you in control, I mean, that's definitely going to be a big loss here for Wolves Esports, potentially, right? Like, if they don't take this 4-0, it means that they've got to then try and climb again, because that then brings back the second win that JD Gaming need, right? Like, they were able to take them 3-1 last time. If they are wanting to do this, like we saw on the audience, we saw boards flashing up JD Gaming 4-3 scoreline. So, we could still either be here for a long day, or if Wolves pulls this one next out the bag, it's going to be a short day and a quick elimination here for JD Gaming.
It's going to be a tough challenge because at this point, I think the game plan is pretty clear from the side of Wolves Esports, right? So let us target ban a couple of things. Number 1, let's not allow No Fear to hit that, you know, performance that he's looking for. The Conqueror will never show, right? At the same time, I think they also found the weakness that Jingyu is actually that little gap. If they can shut down the jungle early, they place the defensive focus away from the farm laner that is Yi, and it has happened for 3 games in a row.
It's happened for 3 games in a row, but at the same time, like, I want to revisit the point I was talking about into the post-game, right? Like, Pang is normally not going to be he's going to be the focus. He's kind of like the captain, right? But at the same time, I feel like the focus for JD Gaming, especially within the BP, need to be looking at those 2 side lanes, right? Like, Track and Sakura are having a fantastic series right now. So maybe they look at trying to ban out some more potential, like, carry picks into the top side of the map, just to get Sakura kind of like playing a little bit more defensively, try and put him back into his box.
Yes, and the point here being, don't be greedy, right? Pick one, choose one, go for that one, because it is rare that you win everything across the map, which we've seen Wolves get punished as well, right? Trying to take double objectives during the Primal Bond, having that stolen away, getting losing their series, getting knocked to the lower brackets. So I think they have learned from that today. We'll see if JDG is able to force that error out.
They've got to try and, right? Like, if it's tournament life on the line, they need to force that victory for themselves, or force out the error that we've saw them already face against JD Gaming once before. So we know that JD Gaming can do it, but is Wolves Esports kind of like, you know what, there is a lot on the line right now, 9 times of only just like prize pool, but also kind of just guaranteeing yourself further access into the tournament itself.
I think for now, I want to explore JDG maybe looking at a very aggressive composition, right? At the same time, there are a couple of must bans on the side of Wolves Esports. You must ban away the Dunshan. Do not allow that pick over to the side of Wolves Esports. Take away the Suliet, right? This is also another big one for the side of One. One has been on point on the roam position for Wolves today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we always say support lives matters as well, right? But I mean, he definitely, within that comms as well, like he was definitely the most vocal one at the start point of those comms. And when you're playing something like Adolia, you want to be like, right, okay, guys, we can kind of like slow them down. We've found them. We're getting that intel for your team. And then it was just the moments for the likes of Sakura, the likes of Track to then get that lockdown and shutdown, but also with Juan into the mid lane as well.
Yes, it's actually not as easy to play Adolia as the pros have allowed you to see down here, right? The timing needs to be really clean, really clinical. I've tried it a couple of times, failed miserably, got scolded. But in any case, this is why we watch the KPL, right? Because we want to take a look at the standards of the professionals. We want to learn from the best. And in order to learn from the best, sometimes we have to take a look at their failures as well. So far, we learned from both the success and the failures. JDG, if they can really reinforce that jungle advantage that Pang has been able to get for himself and wrestle that back into the hands of Jingyu, maybe JDG can have a much better game here.
I feel like you guys in one very important part of your Dolia exploration there, Ken. It's the fact you took execute on a support and tried to carry with it.
For the first time in a long time, it was not execute, right? It was stun. But anyway, yeah, obviously I'm not a professional player here, but it's worth the creative experimentation at this point. So now there are other forms of experimentation that I think JDG can go for, but this is a risky one to experiment on because this is potentially the last game of the series. If Wolf Esports win one more, this is their ticket into the next stage of competition. JDG will go home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, then it's the chance for Wolves to be up against either AG Superplay or KSG the next game, right? Like, we haven't seen those two teams face off within the tournament so far, KSG and Wolves, which would be super duper interesting. I mean, tournament life on the line once again, because you got to think, like, Wolves aren't in the clear, right? Yes, they advance further, but they're still in the lower brackets. They're still fighting for their life every match of the way.
Yep. And this is why it's important to take one step at a time to make sure that you know what's going on, place your strategies, make it clear. As long as everyone on the team is in the same alignment, you should be able to achieve the results. Because for now, Wolves just seem to be the better team.
Oh, absolutely. Execution-wise, knowing what they're playing with and playing against, they're kind of going for all the strats. Like, it's not only just the timers now in these players' minds, but once again, looking at both of these coaches for potentially the last time, right? Pang going up against No Fear. Will they give No Fear his pride and joy? Will they give him that Conqueror?
I am in full confidence that that is never gonna happen. There's no way you give the Conqueror, especially when it's series point, man.
I mean, you know what? They might just think as of a challenge, right? Wolves Esports play, right? Okay, we've had it a bit easy. We need a little bit more of a challenge. Let's give them the Conqueror, right? Like, that is a potential thought process.
True. I mean, yes, they still have the Heino as a form of counter against that, right? At the same time, there is still the Chicha that could definitely make life a little bit difficult because we have seen how dangerous a Chicha multi-man catch is. Now, with that being said, there are opinions and then there are facts, and we'll see what kind of composition the coaches will give their players here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot already been taken off of the board here. For those new joining in, maybe new viewers, this is obviously the global ban pick that we operate here within Honor of Kings Esports. So the heroes, if you just joined in that last match, that you saw play for both either Wolves or JD Gaming, neither of those two teams can pick those same heroes again. So obviously JD can pick, if they really wanted to, they could pick the Fati, but Wolves Esports cannot pick that anymore unless we get into an ultimate battle when it becomes a blind draft.
I mean, we've already been through, this is day number 6, right, of the 2025 KPL Grand Finals. And so far, both teams have been wrestling over those very strong roamers, which I think might be that formula for this potential last game of the series. Suliet or Dunshan, choose one, you will not be able to get both.
Exactly. You won't be able to get both. What are they going to go for? But this is going to be updated global ban picks, right? So a lot of expensive picks across the gorge so far for both teams, right? Like, neither of these teams have kind of got away easy with cheap picks. They have kind of just been a blend of success for both of these teams.
Okay, so they're going to place the Wolves Esports team on the red side. JD Gaming want the prio pick. So what kind of prio pick will they be going for? They're going to start off the ban with the Master Luban.
Yeah, they don't want to give over the Master Luban. Obviously, JD Gaming played that in the last match and weren't able to get any kind of victory with it because of obviously the punishment of Jinyu Kaiser in the early game meant that Luban was kind of left alone. Nobody should but baby in the corner when you're playing that draft.
Yeah, they also banned out the Ogren, so this is a legit fear of the fact that Pang has been really scary on the Ogren throughout all the different KPL seasons here.
Exactly. I mean, definitely banning out the Ogre, giving him a bit of a respect ban here for the side of JD Gaming. They don't want this raid bus to come through once again, but they are going to give themselves the early here. So he is going to get that pick that really showed the success, which seemed like years ago right now between Wolves Esports and JD Gaming, right? Like, Track on the first match got a phenomenal MVP performance with this pick.
Okay, but I love this, right? Because JD Gaming, here's one of the things that they are actually opening up, which we talk about the trickle-down effect. There is no Xiao Xiao, which is the immediate counter for this early pick. So they will go with very strong defensive structures and aggression here. One in the form of Suliet for the defense, which is the main hero for the side of One, and a Charlotte pickup in the Clash lane for their Clash laner, Sakura.
I mean, I feel like a completely different person, man, because I've been saying a lot about these support lane heroes that I really love, but Suli is definitely one of these ones that I love, right? Like, the fact that he has that little kind of, like, mini-game with his ultimate, like, if you're able to get all those passives, he comes back, right? Like, that's a huge pick, and he is such a great tank. In terms of initiation, he is going to be a driving force here for the side of Wolves Esports within this one, but I want to go back and revisit the point I was talking about in the post-game, right? Like, we were looking at Sakura. They haven't shut him down. He's got his second pick. He's going for the Charlotte, which has been one of the kind of like the big picks within the KPL at the moment.
Yeah, Charlotte is a great answer to the RD as well, right? Because you have to chase down. And now we have another main hero coming in for the side of Track. Once again, it looks like they're placing all the big cards on the side of Wolves Esports. The Gerya with the Raging Sandstorm is going to be a big ultimate that not only slows but damages your opponents in an AoE. And maybe that could be the formula against JDG's double D's here, Dune and Dolia composition.
Yeah, the Dune and Dolia composition has been kind of like a tried and tested one for quite some time, right? Like, having to being able to kind of like sustain yourself as the Dune, but then also give over the healing of the Dolia, but also the refresh of those ultimates as well, right? Like using those unruly blades twice to get in, get out, do a lot of engage, but we are not stopping right now. Juan is getting his Mai Shiranui here coming through. A lot of burst with this hero.
Okay, so now Wolves Esports, once again, staying true to the colors, which is to get that early game lead, right? So Mai, a great pick for the side of Juan. But I'm curious, what does JD Gaming have in their pot now, since we're in game number 4, for the side of this mid lane for Raw?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, right? Like, what are they going to go for? Obviously, they still have the potential pickups for quite a few of the heroes, but the Hue-1 is going to be their calling card, right? So definitely having that double healing. I mean, there's a lot of sustain for JD Gaming in game number 4, but they need it to sustain their life in the tournament.
It is. I actually like this draft a lot from side of JD Gaming, right? It's really hard to take down because you have the heals coming in not just from the Dolia, but from the Yuan as well when she changes to the Melody of Peace. You also have insane armor. But look, disregard the armor. We're just going to be counting hit points here. Wolves are going to be considering the Fade pick for the side of Pang. And he, knowing as the aggressive jungler, okay, never mind. He's going to play it safe. We're going to get the Kaiser.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? Let's not give Ken a heart attack and Blam a heart attack. We'll play it safe. We'll go for an extra tank. Because, I mean, if you're looking at kind of like front line here, we're really going to be kind of just relying a lot on Pang as well as One to set up those team fights, set up those engages, right? And then it's where, obviously, Gaia as well as the Mai Shiranui try and kind of like just feed Sakura into the late game to get that damage through for the Charlotte as well.
Yeah, and this one makes it really hard, I feel, for the side of Wolves Esports. It's not as easy to, number one, catch an early. So this is going to be very dependent on the initiation process from the side of Juan as well as Sakura, right? Maybe One as well on this Sulia, but I think it's going to be really hard to get the multi-man knockup unless it's a crazy objective to fight for, like the 4-minute Tyrant or the Shadow variants of them.
Yeah, I mean, both of these team comps are very sort of like team fight orientated, right? Like if we get into the late game, we're going to be seeing some kind of like very long drawn out brawls unless Wolves Esports are able to take a little bit of that healing potential off of the Gorge before the team fights even happen. But we've been seeing it already. They know how to dismantle the enemy team, but JD Gaming, they have a huge weight to lift, and that is that match point potentially could be here for Wolves Esports.
Which makes this game for game number 4 very important on that macro basis, because if you lose a team fight, you know it's a guaranteed your turrets will fall, neutral objectives will be taken, buffs will be stolen. So every team fight that they are considering to take needs to be carefully assessed by both sides.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they definitely want to be approaching with their best head on their shoulders, right? Like, they're really going to be looking towards their captain and be like, right, okay, is this going to be the good call? Is this going to be what we need to do to execute the enemy team? So I feel like there's a lot of weight, once again, on the captain's shoulders here. Obviously, Pang, I feel like he's got a little bit more of a free movement, right? Like, he's kind of giving over leeway to the likes of Juan to make some plays and make some obviously shot calls as well, and then obviously secure it into the top side of the map. He's just kind of just like, you know what, I've got you guys, like you've got me, I've got you. Whereas right now, No Fear's like, guys, I'm trying to have you, but this is where we need this draft, this team fight orientated draft.
Actually, based on what I'm seeing here for JDG, I feel like Rong is very confident in this composition, and I would fully agree with him. This is a very strong and stable composition coming out from the side of JDG, right? You have decent wave clear with the Yu Huan. You also have the help of the Byron as well, and the tank of the Dune is almost unmatched. But we do have a Kaiser on the other side, so on the side of Wolves Esports, so we'll see how that is going to be like.
Exactly, going with the Kaiser is going to be very tricky here for the side of JD Gaming. It depends, do Wolves Esports give them a roof to breathe? But speaking of room to breathe, we're going to give it a breather, show and hear what the audience have to say.
Alright, both sets of fans, you can feel the energy from the stadium as well in Changsha here. Now, Wolves Esports as well as JD Gaming, both looking for a win, but for very different reasons here.
Yeah, exactly. One is to maintain in the tournament. One is to just maintain in this series. Like, they need to make sure they're trying to bring back that 1 point for themselves, just so they're not going to go out on a perfect score here for Wolves Esports. But you're already seeing, obviously, a different rotation here to the top side of the map. We see the guy here going up against the Byron, Whisper going up against Track.
Yeah, because they know that the rotation will be coming in from Yi, right? They need to make sure that they get maximum value out of the Gorge at this point. Now, with that rotation for the side of Wolves, they will have eyes open and set onto the Space Sprite, as well as their own Fire Beak at the top.
Yeah, just trying to kind of just take away a lot of the resources for themselves, right? I mean, this is where we could kind of see that JD Gaming could really try to get back onto the Gorge here, is if they're able to kind of get that early game lead, but do something with it, because we've seen them. We know they can do it, but at the same time, they just aren't able to execute with that gold lead.
Yep, they haven't found that formula just yet, but here we go. This may be one of the best drafts for team fighting from the side of JD Gaming. Nice sustain, nice damage. I'm curious to see if they can find success with this composition.
I feel like it's going to rely very heavily on both of the clash lanes, right? Like, you're looking at Byron, you're looking at Charlotte, you're looking for a pickup onto the back lines of the enemy team. Like, you aren't going to be taking, like, a full 5v5 head-on, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this will be dependent on No Fear's choice on that Celestial Melody, right? Who gets the refresh?
Yeah, is it given over to Q1? Is it given over to the Dune here? You know, like those are two kind of like key ones looking for me here, is just like those two heroes. Like, do you give over extra sustain? Do you give over the kind of like get out of jail card here for Jinue?
Yeah, exactly, right? You can actually choose for the Unending Sorrow or the Unruly Blade, both of which are viable options. So there's a lot of options, but then sometimes there is a situation where more becomes less, less is more. So we'll see. Wolves Esports needs to place JD in a difficult position, or I feel like JD, this is the start of a comeback.
It could be a potential comeback here for them. It's like we keep saying, this draft is probably looking like one of their strongest, one of the most kind of like stable drafts that we know of, right? Like this is more looking like familiar faces to the global audience, right? Like there's not a single one on their team that isn't available within the global audience. And this is a draft we would kind of see really shine and we'd be really excited for if the teams globally would take this.
Yep, and it's also about the difference in terms of execution here. But in the mid lane, straight away, we have a little bit of pressure coming from JDG.
A little bit of pressure, obviously, knock up from the win slash, got 3, which is an impressive win slash, right? Like, if you can knock up 3, that's going to really kind of like stop any kind of potential dive here onto your teammates.
Yeah, and this is the timing, right? Both teams know about it. Your common spells, this is not the time to burn them, or your ultimates as well, because you want to make sure you are in time for the 4-minute mark.
Yeah, it'd be trouble for either of these teams if they lose the common skills, learn any ultimates, leave any of their palms here before they get into the neutral objective right now. Obviously, we're just seeing the wave clear, a bit of pressure being created here for Wolves Esports into the mid lane, just to kind of just open up the potential of these tyrants or overlords.
Okay, we'll see. Trek does not have the Doomsday or the Sparkforge dagger just yet, so I think this is still healthy, but here we go, Invincible Warrior.
Oh, Invincible Warrior into the backline, onto the Dolia. That's going to be a lot of sustain being taken off the Gorge here. It's going to be the Sulia getting the kill, so One getting 1 kill onto the board. That's going to be first blood going over to Wolves Esports as they go for the potential of their Azure Golem and then collapse onto the Tyrant.
What did we tell you about this, right? So One with the #1 ultimate called Unconquerable Army setup and the pushback into the wall. That's a beautiful situation for the side of Wolves Esports, netting them that first blood. While it did not go into Trek or Pang or Juan, I think One is happy to support the team and he needs to get credit for that. Now, with that, the first 4-minute Tyrant goes into the hands of Wolves Esports.
I mean, at that point, it's a mental first kill, right? Like, you are getting it just to kind of flex on your opponent. Be like, hey, we got first blood. You aren't going to get it. It hasn't gone over to, yes, our right opponent, but we still are able to get these team fights. And you got to make sure, next time we fight, your Dolia needs to be safe.
I mean, it is a kill onto Dolia, right? So for Novia, I don't think that's the biggest loss. The difference maker here is if there's going to be a big differential between Trek and Yi, as well as maybe Jinyu and Pa, right? The jungle and the farm lane. That would be the biggest difference maker here.
Yeah, if it was given over to either of those, yeah, it would be a huge difference for Wolves Esports. But I mean, they're going to be happy with that, right? Like, they're happy around about a 1.1k gold lead right now, getting into that roughly around about that 5-minute and 30-second mark. So really here, you're seeing that JD Gaming need to try and create some pressure into these side lanes. As you can see that Yi is looking to try and get that T1 down to the bot side as they're looking to trade the T1 into the clash.
Yep. We can't stress enough how big and important this macro game is. Straight away, both teams trade the T1 at the top and the bottom respectively. We'll see what kind of value, because both Yi and Trek, they've gotten their first core items already.
Yeah, exactly. Core items are going to be pretty scary. I mean, especially going into these team fights. Like, we've already seen a lot of damage. They still have the Tyrant for 10 seconds, so the damage output is still going to be increased for the side of Wolves Esports.
Yeah, you can see the pressure put down now. Crimson Golem available for the taking.
Yeah, they're helping themselves. The enemy jungle. I mean, the fact they haven't taken the T1 down to the bot side, but they're still looking like they're going to go in. The Invincible Warrior to the back line. The Legion of Yi is going to be scary here for the side of JD Gaming, but now being bullied is going to be Jinyu in his own jungle.
And look at the value of this, right? So they get the kill onto Yi, they get to the kill onto Jinyu as well. Both the important members, the jungle and the farm, at the same point of time. They force that rotation from Whisper. Now the T1 is going to be a free one for the side of Wolves Esports.
T1 a free one here, potentially here for the side of Wolves Esports, but they may be looking for some more, right? The chase onto the Q1 here, wrong in the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately, for the side of JD Gaming. They lose their mid lane.
Oh, nice flash!
They lose their mid laner, but nice catch up here. It's going to be the flash knock up here for the Byron. They get one. They also get wrong here, still going down, but that means they can look for more here. JD Gaming are looking at a bit of a back foot. They do lose Whisper. They do lose Yi. Are they going to lose Jinyu at the same time? That's a 4-1 trade here for Wolves Esports.
60 seconds, and that's 6 kills coming in for the side of Wolves Esports. More importantly, Trek is 5.5 thousand. He's 1,000 ahead of his counterpart. And the most important thing is they've taken the T1 at the bottom as well. So a lot of darkness on the gods for JD Gaming.
It's like I said, man, like those side lanes are like the side lane players onto the side of Wolves Esports are scary because not only do you have that 1k plus gold lead into the farm lane, you have the same thing replicated into the clash lane. It's just too scary for the side of JD Gaming. They can't keep up with these sideline players.
And we talked about it, right? This team fight is so important because you know that the macro game, the macro advantage that Wolves or JD Gaming can take for themselves with the composition they have is really quick, it's very painful.
Very, yeah, I mean, definitely, the best choice of worlds there is definitely painful, right? Because, I mean, not only did you lose 4 members, you lost a 6k gold lead as well right now that you're seeing here. Wolves Esports are just naturally keeping and maintaining that. It's going to be very difficult.
Yep, 6k. And with that, they also funnel all the relevant buffs onto the hands of Track as well as Pang. And that's a great thing for the side of Wolves Esports, but you take a look at what's available for JD Gaming. If you have the trade in terms of buffs, it's still okay. You can try and manage the situation out of it. But right now, everything's in the hands of Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest though, JD Whisper has proven it, right? Like, he can access the backline of the enemy team of Wolves Esports, so he can really kind of blunder their motion in the ocean. But I feel like if he wants to do it again, he has to do it now because we get into that crucial point within this match. We're getting ever so close to that 10-minute mark.
Yep, and look at what they're doing. Once again, they're pushing them away. Sakura doing such a good job of just making sure they have the back because the threat of the dive is very real. And JD Gaming now suffer another loss. T2 on the top gone.
T2 on the top gone. A lot of pressure being created here by the side of Wolves Esports as they're looking to try and take away the Azure goal. They don't get... Oh, they do get it. It goes over the track there, which is going to be that shot, that trick shot coming through.
Oh, this is not ideal at all for the side of JD Gaming. Everything, every corner of a turnaround is now shut down by the side of Wolves Esports.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to do something right. They need to make a bit of an adjustment here for the side of JD Gaming. I mean, I always say to my teammates, right, like, you've still got the high ground turrets. You can still come back at this one. He's made it to the 10-minute mark. Can you at least get an objective?
I mean, so more than a 1,500 goal lead for the side of Track in between Yi as well. He already has his Daybreaker, looking for the next item, looking like a Siege Breaker at this point. And nobody is able to handle Pang. He has a level advantage over everyone on the side of JD Gaming.
Yeah, it's crazy. The level advantage he has right now is just absolutely nuts. I mean, that's definitely what we're looking at, right? That's his main hero. Like, this is how you meant to play your main heroes. You don't play them whimsically. You don't kind of play them defensively. You want to put a staple. You want to kind of claim your name onto the picks like the Gaia.
And here is the well-known special coming in from the side of Wolves Esports, the double objective take. Mostly punished in the earlier parts of the knockout stage. This time, it's a brilliant success.
Yeah, it's not quite the Blam special. It's something a little bit more successful than that one, right? Like, you get the Tyrant, you get the Overlord. You are able to kind of just use that Vanguard to force a fight into one of these lanes, right? Like, you could use that to drop it down, force the team fight there. The damage reduction for the enemy team is going to be a big hindrance for them as well.
Yeah, and right now they get the Azure Golem as well. One big setup from the side of either One or Sakura could be that opening.
They're looking for the opening here as well, right? Obviously, you can see that they're doing is just trying to soak a lot of that early part of the team fight damage. Using the unruly blade to get in there, but back on top is going to be Sully with the help of Sakura as well. That's a 2-0 trade here for Wolves Esports. They're looking for more, but that Parasol almost tried to stop that claim to fame onto Yi. But this is looking like an 11-minute match here, kid. They're looking for blood. They're looking for their third ace of this series. They're not going to get it, but they get the series 4-0. To Wolves.
Oh, and the Wolves hunt in a pack today. This is the success they have been waiting for. Albeit it is in the lower brackets, still a win is a win, and they make a clean sweep today, 4-0 against Beijing JDG.
Yeah, I mean, I would try and go, ow, for Wolves. I didn't think it would come out, but it did. There we go. It's coming out true here for Blam. Wolves come through with a 4-0 fashion. They do take their step a little bit further into this competition, as well as they await whoever loses between AG Superplay and KSG.
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting matchup to watch for sure, right? Nobody has managed to find too much success against AG in all the different seasons of late in KPL, but now we're looking for the winner. Maybe KSG will be that team, as Wolves will be waiting for their victory.
Yeah, Wolves look fierce, man. I mean, like, we only had one match, what went to the Tempest Dragon, right? Like, the last time JD Gaming and Wolves went head-to-head, they had 2 games that went the full country mile. But at the same time, Wolves is like, right, we can't allow them to get to that point. Again, we need to make sure we're shutting them down. We need to make sure we are claiming the victory for themselves. And a 4-0 fashion is definitely the way to put your mark back onto the other teams watching you within the KPL.
Yeah. And it's not just about knowing what your win conditions are, it's also about knowing what the win conditions of your opponents are. So this has been put on display today fantastically by the side of Wolves Esports, shutting down each and every important member on the side of JDG, also known as JD Gaming. And now this is the end of the journey for JD Gaming. We will have an interview later on with their segment. We'll also have the winners interview to find out a little bit more about their experience in today's Best of 7 series.
Exactly. I mean, that's the one thing we really want, right? Like, that's the intel we all really seek, is like, what was the kind of the thinking, the thought process between this series? Like, what were your emotions going into this Best of 7? And I can imagine after that game number 1 point, the emotions for Wolves Esports was definitely a more positive one than JD Gaming here, as obviously we can see No Fear looking definitely upset with the team, with himself, right? Like, that's, you don't want to be exiting the tournament, man. Like, there is no weak teams. This is a competition of the true champions, right? Like, it's unfortunate for seeing some of these boys get upset, but somebody has to lose.
Yeah, but end of the day, the L's can be turned into lessons as well, as we welcome JDG back onto the stage here to give their final bows towards their fans, their supporters, and of course, the online audiences across the world. Not the result that they wanted, but this is the result that they need. Now there are gaps that have been shown. It is time to fill those gaps and come back stronger.
They do need to fill those gaps and come back stronger. I mean, they're not the only ones crying, right? The fans also take that hit as well, because, I mean, it's just like any sport. When your team loses, you lose as well, right? Like, you are there to support them at the end of the day, and it's just as fatal for you as it is for them. So, unfortunately, JD Gaming will be leaving the competition here, as it is the lower brackets and it is an elimination. But Wolves Esports fans can rejoice as they do go forward into the lower brackets and fight for their lives once again, depending on who wins or loses tomorrow's game.
Oh, for sure. And of course, the intensity will continue to rise all the way until the 30th of October here, as we conclude the first part of the Grand Finals here. 2025 KPL Grand Finals, the knockout stages. We'll have the Grand Finals on the 8th of November, if I'm not wrong. Now, with that being said, right, the path and road to success is never a straight road. Rarely is that the case. So this means, you know what, it's still an impressive result for the side of JD Gaming to have made it all the way here into the top 8. But we'll run through the stats in this game here. I think I wanted to take a look at track as well as this Sakura Charlotte. Absolute monster today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Sakura definitely being on form, right? I feel like, for me, the MVP here is definitely a toss-up between Sakura or One, right? Like, One, his initiations were crazy. Like, I was really expecting Pong to come through with such, like, impactful things, impactful sort of setups, but it was definitely the support that really kind of, like, shined the rest of this one.
I felt like One really achieved so many wins today, like not just in this game, but the 4 games across, he has been really consistent. And that's what it takes to be playing at the top tiers of KPL as well. Not just being good at the various heroes that are given to you, but to be consistent with your performances. Look for those openings. Those unconquerable army flash setups has been great. And this is just one angle that we're looking at, right? We still have Sakura diving in, power gradation, flash, with the dashes as well. So many pain points to deal with for JDG.
A lot of pain points for JDG. I mean, that's the thing that was really kind of taking a little bit of a back from, like, right? Like, we was thinking, obviously, post game number 3, they need to focus on the side lanes. They need to make sure they not get in some great picks. But Sakura gets Charlotte, one of the most, like, big picks within the KPL in the Clash lane, and then Trek gets one of his main heroes. So I'm just like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's so difficult to play, right? Because number one, these are obviously main heroes, and once again, Whisper, he caught my eye on the side of JDG, managed to get a couple of nice picks, but unfortunate, there was no follow-up because the damage damage difference was just too big. The goal gap was just too monstrous on the side of Wolves Esports.
Absolutely, yeah. The Wolves Esports, when they had that team fight, when they got the 4-0 trade, like, that was just kind of like, for me, you don't want to say it's over, but it was basically over at that point, right? Because not only did they get a 4-0 trade, they got a 6k gold lead cemented for themselves, and it just kind of got further and further and further away from JD Gaming. It was just kind of just a bit of a mishap in game number 4, I feel.
And I mean, this is due to the draft itself, which is once again credits towards the coach. But we'll take a look at the MVP. It is none other than one. Finally, another Roma gets the recognition he deserves. The Sulia that really changed the state of the plane of the fight today. 2-0-9. Didn't deal the most damage, 9.7%. That's fine, because look at the damage that he tanked. Close to 30% here.
Exactly, he's got a big percentile difference there. But I mean, you are a tank, you're not meant to be doing the damage, you're just meant to be making those setups for your team and obviously soaking that damage, which is exactly what Juan did here. But no, I mean, like you were saying earlier, Ken, going back to your point, he's been impressive throughout the entire of the series. Like, it's not just this match, but this match was definitely the shining moment. I mean, these setups, man, just that double knock-up straight in, just really setting up his team.
And he also makes full value for the team based on his Iron Colossus, right? So Iron Colossus is the one where he takes a fall, he gives his life. Can be revived if everyone steps on the lanterns, 4 lanterns around his body. And they used it to the maximum efficiency on the side of Wolves Esports.
Exactly. I mean, you never saw it once, right? Like, you didn't see Juan go in without any of his teammates there. It's like, guys, I need my lanterns up. We're going to get it. There we go. Boom. Back onto the board, guys. We are going in for a second win. We're going to put the pressure onto Whisper there as well. But it was just, look at then, just going back in. Boom. Knock up. This is just... Please bring it to global, please.
Yeah, I'm waiting on this hero as well. And this is one of the strong things about the Sulia pick, which is he is unignorable. You cannot leave him alone as well. And while you're busy dealing with him, then there's still so many other angles of entry. You have the Charlotte from the side of Sakura. You have Track on the Gerya, just shooting from afar. And then you have the Kaiser, who is just... I think Pang at this point was really just enjoying himself and taking a stroll across the entire gorge at this point.
Exactly that. But I mean, this is going to be the last game of the day. Obviously, this was a very convincing Wolves Esports 4-0. I mean, we didn't expect it in the early part of the day, right? Obviously, knowing what the previous scoreboard was when we saw these two teams go head-to-head, it went into the favor of JD Gaming. But we was expecting definitely a bit more of a potential ultimate battle here. But no, Wolves were here to play, and they've played their way into the next part of the lower bracket.
Yes, I mean, it's a very impressive performance from the side of Wolves Esports. I think there were a lot of expectations for Wolves Esports as well, because they did not perform their best in the earlier parts of the series coming into the lower brackets as well. But what a time to hit your strides. For the side of JDG, obviously there's some gaps to fill, but this is a good time to have a short break, kind of rework what the winning conditions are on the team, and take a look at how to really maximize the synergy and the value of the picks coming out from the draft that the coach has given them in the games.
Exactly. We always kind of big up the players, but it's definitely to the detriment of the coaches as well, right? Like, they need to know what they're drafting. They need to know how their players can feel comfortable with it. Do they know how to operate these heroes to the level to get this victory? And honestly, every pick that we saw here for Wolves Esports, as well as JD Gaming though, right? Like, they were glimmers of hope for this team, but it's just the fact that Wolves Esports were able to kind of be a little bit more methodical, a little bit more surgical with that victory.
I think it comes from the experience of having played from the multiple seasons in KPL, especially for Pang, right, as a veteran, which is kind of scary. But we'll find out more information because we're going to head into the loser interview right here, right now.
采访席，我是天云。我们采访到的是来自北京京东的刑天，来，刑天和大家打个招呼吧。
好，大家好，我是北京 GDG 刑天。
其实今天的对手重庆狼队是一个前期节奏非常快的战队，那结合在擂台赛和他们对抗的经验，今天整体在赛前的战术制定会往哪些方向倾斜吗？
就是拿我们会玩的阵容嘛，然后 VP 稍微针对一下，让我们最适合阵容打最适合的局嘛。
看到的确实对于你们熟练度非常高的几套体系都有非常大的倾斜。其实对抗性或者说比起在擂台赛 BO 我们看到的韧性来说的话，到了 BO7 淘汰赛的阶段，好像大家会出现一些不太稳定的情况。你觉得是哪些因素所造成的呢？
就第二把可能就给对面原本是翻盘了嘛，就没有翻下去嘛，就是差一点嘛。翻了以后可能今天就不一样了嘛，就是。稍微大意了一番。
大家确实是需要情绪上面的一定的鼓舞。这2场 BO7，在你的眼中，你会觉得几位选手在情绪和心态上面确实会有遭到一些影响吗？
其实还都是比较稳定的嘛，都是打过很多比赛的选手嘛，情绪方面都没问题的。
其实我觉得今天站在这边，我们要聊的是北京 JDG 从夏天到现在整体的变化和进步。我数了一下，你是5月27日加入的北京京东俱乐部，那到现在其实不足5个月的时间，但是我们能看到这支俱乐部的成绩的提升是非常巨幅的。大家是怎样配合，可以在这么短的时间有这么大的进步？
有很多问题嘛，大家要互相磨合解决，再磨合再解决嘛，总有没解决完的，也有解决完的嘛。
在解决问题的这个过程当中，团队包括选手给到你的一些正向的反馈是怎样的呢？
大家都是很积极的嘛，都会积极解决问题，解决不了就想办法再解决嘛，总能解决的。
共同进步一定是大家的唯一目标。其实这一次的年总之旅，我觉得对于京东来讲，一定是有喜悦也有遗憾的。在你的视角，会怎么希望选手们去消化和总结这一次的经历呢？
其实怎么说呢？就细节再做好一点吧。就这些吧。
我觉得与其放眼现在，不如展望一下未来。我们挑杯还会有一次比赛和再次回来的机会。在这个过程当中，觉得大家需要保持和加强的地方分别是哪些呢？
也没有什么吧，就是把没有解决问题再解决一下，再往前走一走，6强4强起步吧。
相信你们可以做到，也再次让我们把助威声给到这支勇敢的北京京东，期待你们再次见面，我们下次比赛再见。这就是相信的力量，让我们把时间交还给平文熙。
All right, welcome back. That was a short but quick interview from the side of the coach of the side of JDG, and of course our host is going to be Sky. Now they were asked about the aggressive invades coming from the side of Wolves and how they were feeling about that kind of composition and playstyle, and the coach was answering that, hey, it's difficult to deal with that situation, and leading to that, it was also about finding out from Sky, were there any differences in the mental states of the JDG players, because it didn't feel like they were in the right state throughout the game. But the coach was very calm in saying that actually the mental state of the players has been the same. They're trying to keep it as calm and composed as possible. Now, with regards to their journey so far in this particular season itself, definitely the players have been asked if there were any difficulties that they brought forward in the team to the coaches. And as obviously, the coach was responding that everyone has difficulties. They will try to solve these as best as they can. And we will always look forward to the future and to deliver better results as the JDG lineup.
Exactly. I mean, it's going to be some kind of like, it's not going to be like, cheers, way, like, we kind of like, we've lost here sort of thing. I mean, there's always going to be kind of like a little bit more of a somber tone here, especially for the coach as well, because obviously his job's done when obviously the draft's done, but then obviously it then picks up when either you get the victory, you get the win, that you have to sit through with those players and kind of sit them through and be like, right, okay, this is how we're going to kind of like overcome this next time this happens. So it's very difficult for him to take the loss as well, even though he's not onto the gorge, but it's still kind of like a loss for him.
Yeah, in any competition itself, it's inevitable you will lose one way or another, right? The important part of it is to learn how to recover, find out why you lost in the first place, right? Losing, failing, it's not the issue. The issue is if you don't know why that happens. But let's talk about the winners, because we want to find out how to keep winning.
欢迎来到采访期，大家好，我是天云。我们采访到的是樱花和 SK， 来两位和大家打个招呼。
Hello， 大家好，我是重庆蓝队樱花。Hello， 大家好，我是重庆蓝队教练 SK。
首先问问樱花啊，今天这整场比赛对于你来说，赛前会比较紧张吗？
没上来之前是有点紧张的。因为其实没在淘汰赛之前，我前面都挺紧张的，就是轮换的时候，在那个。就是在
擂台赛的时候，
对，
大师轮换的时候，
是的。
其实我看了一下，这场比赛可能是你目前职业生涯最大的一个舞台了。今天4比0赢下了比赛，表现得非常亮眼。你现在的感觉怎么样呢？
还好吧，挺平静的。
在比赛的过程当中，你有觉得哪一局开始自己真的放下包袱，进入状态了吗？
就第一局没打之前就想了一下，就说当训练赛打，然后。 就没那么紧张了。
SK， 你见过非常多优秀的选手，你觉得樱花这样子一个纯新人，在你眼中有哪些特质？
就是有点中二嘛。
中二。
对，就是他的性格是比较大大咧咧的那种人。
你觉得他是属于比较大心脏的选手吗？
一般中二的人，他发挥应该都不差。
其实我觉得今天的这个辩证也好，都比较的大胆，我认为也是一次不破不立的尝试。是上次失利之后，大家有怎样的总结吗？今天有这样的调整？
其实就是团队氛围气氛有点怪。其实我们就是年总这7个人，其实学联赛都很强嘛。其实，在学联赛里其实都难求一败吧。输一场都很难。但是比赛里就感觉这5个人就发挥确实有点出乎我的意料，所以这一次辩证的话，就想让樱花上来去领着新人，把他们血气给我杀出来。就是往前怼一怼。
其实做这样子的决定，你是不是压力也是挺大的？
压力其实还好吧，就是我们用自己的，就是我跟我的团队也说嘛，用自己的实力打破质疑吧。
其实能够看到，我们感觉今天上场好像和之前那种猛猛进攻的风格不太一样了，这会是你今天启用这样子一套手法想要呈现出来的效果和方向吗？
上一场就是打得太毛毛躁躁了，就是我跟团队在调整嘛，就是跟他们说就是大家都大风大浪走过来的队伍了，不要就是像在打那个老鹰捉小鸡那种打团，就是走节奏啥的，跟团队2个指挥在聊反反复复聊很多吧。
今天樱花觉得自己表现最好的是哪一局？你们觉得是哪一局？
感觉都没有最好吧。
我们想要问一下达摩那一局其实你的开局的出装就是一个红莲斗篷纯肉几乎前期是纯肉，那一节你觉得前中后期你的一个定位是什么呢？
就半坦半战吧，前面稍微当点前排，后面找机会开 C 吧。
我觉得中路找到女娲和高地那一波，你和医生的一波反打非常关键，这2波是谁的主意啊？当时你眼中还记得吗？
没啥印象了。
没啥印象。其实你和重庆狼队的选手磨合时间比较短，那在局内有动向和决策的时候，你会和谁去商量这件事情呢？
就医生跟小胖吧，这种。
哥2个核心大哥，现在和他们磨合下来，感觉他们俩怎么样？
很厉害，很强。
有跟他们学习到新的东西吗？
学习到挺多东西的，其实。
SK 对于今天团队的表现应该是比较满意的了。
是的，今天比较满意吧。
其实你们下一场的比赛要在30号，其实中间呢大概有1周的时间，这样子时间需要整体团队去做怎样的沉淀呢？
还是总结今天有的失误点吧，然后加强团队的阵容容错吧。
那下一场比赛的对手呢，其实是 AG 和快手的败者。樱花对于这场比赛有你自己期待的结果吗？你会怎么看待这场比赛？没有就是讲讲你对他们的印象，没有什么别的意思。
AG 很强，这大家都知道的。
对啊。
快手也挺强。都很强。
那所以呢？
把自己做好。
OK， 可以，非常标准的满分答案。然后我们再次把掌声给到2位，再次恭喜重庆狼队剩下1局。让我们把时间交还给评论席。
All right, welcome back. This one's a little bit longer. This one we were speaking to Sakura as well as their coach SK for the start of Wolves Esports. Now, if you're new to Sakura, he is a relatively new addition to the start of Wolves Esports, and they were asking if he was feeling anxious as he stepped up onto the stage itself. And obviously, he was saying that he was anxious at the start of the series, but the way that he viewed the game was as if it was a scrim, and that actually helped him to calm down and really lock in to get that performance going. Now, with regards to Wolves as a team, historically, there has been a lot of pressure for them to perform, and the coach was actually telling them that they needed to be clear, aligned, and to make sure that they made the correct calls to have the best performance. And so it's great that they took the win. Now, also with the fact that Sakura hasn't been with this team too long, they were asking about the coach's inputs about his performance thus far, and I'm happy to tell you that SK feels that Sakura has been performing okay, and especially for today, it's a great improvement. Now, With regards to the next stages of the competition, the coach SK still feels that there is some adjustments that have to be made for the side of Wolves Esports gameplay in terms of execution. So we'll see how they're going to be able to make those adjustments and come out stronger. Finally, to end the interview, they wanted to ask about the opinions of the matchup that you were talking about, Blam, which was the KSG against AG matchup. And we had the best answer from Sakura. He said, both of them are really strong, so we'll just do our best in that series. Whoever comes will come to fight against us in the lower bracket again.
I mean, just one thing, right? Like the coach saying that Sakura did okay. Like this is just showing you like the level of what you need to be at within KPL, right? It's like, yeah, he did okay. It's like, bro was MVP twice. He was very dominant throughout the series. So if that's not like a telling sign on how talented these players are, I don't know what is. But it's really nice to see here that there's always like room for improvement for these players, especially such a young player like Sakura as well, right? Like he's got a lot to learn. The fact is that they had to go for a bit of a mental wear down by saying he was in a scrim. I mean, I'm not sure how he would do that when you've got like a huge stage and stadium in front of you, but his mental's clearly better than mine.
Hey, whatever works, right? So I have been in situations where I'm curious for the players, like how do you calm yourself down, right? And for some of them, they actually, yes, playing as though it's a scrim helps them feel like they don't have the pressure of losing because it's a learning journey for them. I'm not sure whether that's the exact mindset he has, but for now, I think it's been fun, right? This has been one of the quickest best of sevens. It's the second day of 4-0s so far. Now, it's been your favorite kind of tofu, Kindofu. Blam, I'm going to let you end the day. Any final thoughts from you?
No, just fantastic. Well done, Wolves Esports, for the 4-0. Obviously, homeboy Wolverhampton doing proud. But we'll be back tomorrow with more KPL action. So don't go anywhere, guys. Make sure you tune in at the same time. We'll see you tomorrow.
You've walked through the darkest nights. You've heard the crowd, felt the blinding light. You were standing there when your heart comes alive. It's a dream of ahead, and it never dies. Right here, right now, give it all, get it out. Never a surrender, I fight and never fail. I am a contender, a challenge I can feel. The smallest lies become the brightest enemies, relentlessly. And even if you fall, you gave it everything to be a king. The smallest lies become the brightest enemies, relentlessly. And even if you fall, you gave it everything to be a king. You carved your way with a sharp attack. You watched it all burn, and you never looked back. There will come a day when your fears will rise. You protect your crown, so it never dies. Never a surrender, I fight and never fail. I am a contender, a challenge I can feel. The smallest lies become the brightest enemies, relentlessly. And even if you fall, you gave it everything to be a king. On my way, find my way, find my way. On my way, dream my way, never a surrender. I fight and never fail. I'm a contender.